Chapter 872. Wang Shi thought for a moment and said, the clan's annual consumption of ling grains is calculated at 2 million caddies. First-grade ling grains, for seasons in a year. Mu of ling fields produces 800 caddies a year, so we need 2,500 mu of ling fields. The grade of ling grains is very low, but it uses up a lot of energy from the ling plant farmer. 1 year, we need to plant and harvest 4 times, and water many times. It's very good for a ling plant farmer to take care of 10 mu of ling grains. 2,500 mu of ling fields, we need 250 ling plant farmers. The clan can gather so many ling plant farmers, but the clan can't just plant ling grains. There are other important ling fields that need to be taken care of. If we encounter diseases, it will be even more troublesome. How many mu of ling fields can one puppet take care of? Wang Daoyuan shook his head and said, puppets aren't calculated like this. One puppet only does one thing. For example, a puppet that uses the sweet rain art. If it is equipped with 3 4th-grade ling gathering pearls, it can water 100 mu of ling fields for a long time. There are also puppets that are responsible for plowing, planting, and harvesting. It isn't difficult for one puppet to take care of 100 mu of ling fields. They only need one puppet for plowing, planting, harvesting, and casting the sweet rain art. As a group, they can manage 100 mu of ling grains. 2,500 mu of ling fields only needs 25 groups of puppets. There are ling bees to take care of pests, so there is no rush. If we encounter diseases in the ling grains, it will be very complicated, and we need ling plant farmers to take care of it. Of course, this was the way to plant rank 1 ling grains. If they wanted to raise the ling fields to rank 3 and above, it would take a lot of effort. Planting special ling grains would be even more troublesome. Wang Daochang calculated the cost and had a joyful expression. If this is the case, even if our Wang clan has tens of millions of normal clansmen, we can easily feed them. Wang Daoyuan nodded. It isn't a big deal if the method to make the puppets is leaked. But the ling gathering pearls have to be kept a secret. Without the ling gathering pearls, no matter how good the puppets are, they have to be powered by ling stones. Casting 1 sweet rain art requires about 1 piece of low-grade ling stone. If we use the sweet rain art to maintain 2,500 mu of ling fields, it would take at least 3 months. Casting the sweet rain art once every 3 months for 1 mu of ling field, it would cost tens of thousands of ling stones a year. With the soul gathering pearls, we can save the energy stones. Spirit fields were not only used to produce crops, but they also required a large amount of resources to maintain them. If there was a water source that was rich in spiritual energy, he could directly use the canals that contain spiritual energy to water the spiritual fields. Without a suitable water source, one had to pay attention to the location of the spirit field. The closer the land was to the spirit vein, the easier it was for the land to be nourished by the spirit vein, and the easier it would be to maintain it. Some places didn't even need to be maintained. After the land was cleared, spirit plants could be planted. The spirit energy seeping into the spirit veins was enough to sustain the consumption of the spirit fields. Most of the spirit fields were developed near water sources and spirit veins. The ling fields that needed the sweet rain art to maintain, even if they sold the ling items they produced, it wouldn't be enough to pay the wages of the ling plant farmers. Such a spiritual field was like a bottomless pit, and no power was willing to open it up. That was why spirit fields in the immortal cultivation world were so precious. However, with the help of the puppet and the spirit gathering pearl, as long as the density of spirit chi in the surroundings was high enough, he could open up a spirit field anywhere. Wang Daoxing said, why don't we put this kind of spiritual field that is used to grow first-grade spiritual grains in the Green Willow secret realm first? The space there is big enough, but we lack manpower, and there is still a lot of land that hasn't been developed into spirit fields. The density of spirit chi in the secret realm is very high, and the spirit gathering pearl can easily absorb spirit chi. We can continuously use the sweet rain art to nourish the spirit fields, but only plant first-grade spiritual grains. After a few decades, the spirit fields will advance. This was naturally the best. In his own secret realm, he didn't have to worry about the puppet being leaked, and he could also cultivate second-grade spiritual fields. He took out a storage bag. Let's do it like this. You can arrange the details. Here are 304th grade spirit gathering pearls. It's enough for now. We have obtained large amounts of inheritances from the Valley of Beasts. We can't easily show the high-level inheritances to people. I'll go examine them, and those that are suitable to be released will be given to the clansmen to cultivate. Afterwards, he left Clearglass City and headed towards the underground cavern of Jade Spring Peak. The inheritances from the Valley of Beasts had already been put into the space of the Spirit Pearl. His doppelganger would slowly examine and find the inheritances he needed. These 4 universe rings contained over 10,000 beast skin books and even more jade scrolls. These things were all copies. They hadn't been recorded for a long time, and the contents were still complete. If he wanted to organize all of these things, even in the space of the Spirit Pearl, it would take a very long time. Wang Daoyuan didn't need techniques and spells at the moment, so he didn't look at them. What he looked at more were those secret arts. However, the secret arts that his doppelganger occasionally flipped through attracted his interest. Among them was the inheritance of the Ling plant farmer of the Valley of Beasts, which was very advanced. The inheritance of the Wang family's Ling plant farmer was a local product of the Netherworld sect that Zhong Zhenyang had given back then. The Netherworld sect had only been established for a few thousand years. Even though they had many Jindan Xiozha, but in terms of inheritance and foundation, they were only at a mediocre level. The inheritance of the Ling plant farmer only had the basic methods to cultivate Ling plants. As for those secret arts, they didn't even need to think about them. The Valley of Beasts really was the #1 power in Beiyuan in the past. They had many Ling plant secret arts. For example, methods that could increase the growth rate of Ling plants, using some Ling items to create special nourishment. Then using some secret arts, they could greatly reduce the growth time of Ling plants. Of course, different Ling plants required different nourishment recipes and different secret arts. Among these secret arts, there was a method to accelerate the ripening of the purple dragon pattern ginseng. The combination of the secret arts and special nourishment could reduce the ripening time of the purple dragon pattern ginseng from 1,000 years to 500 years. The main ingredients of the foundation establishment pill, the true essence fruit, and the blood jade ginseng, naturally had secret arts and special nourishment that reduced the ripening time by more than half. Right now, Wang Daoyuan didn't care too much about the foundation establishment pill. After all, he had killed large amounts of rank 3 Yao in these years, and didn't lack these things. What interested Wang Daoyuan the most was that there was a secret art to accelerate the ripening of the nascent formation fruit. The 5,000-year ripening time of the nascent formation fruit was really too long. Even in the space of the Spirit Pearl, the first batch of nascent formation fruit from the branch of the nascent formation fruit tree that he had obtained in the 7-star secret realm hadn't ripened yet. Being a Ling plant farmer was one of the many arts of cultivation, and its importance wasn't any less than pill, smithing, and seal formations. The inheritance of a Ling plant farmer in the Valley of Beasts wasn't as simple as ripening. There was also a secret art to make the nascent formation fruit tree bear the nascent replenishing fruit. To execute this secret art, one needed rank 5 upper grade 5 element spirit items. The golden core essence of a rank 5 Yao or the essence of the 5 element spirit items would do. One also had to use a secret art to merge the essence of these spirit items into an unformed nascent formation fruit and continuously nurture this nascent formation fruit. One had to execute the secret art more than 10 times to turn the nascent formation fruit into a nascent replenishing fruit. Of course, this method would cause great damage to the fruit tree. The slightest carelessness could seriously affect the vitality of the nascent formation fruit tree. Wang Daoyuan only had 2 nascent formation fruit trees. One was the branch he had plucked from the 7-star secret realm, and the other was planted from the core of the nascent replenishing fruit. He didn't dare to mess around with this little bit of wealth. However, the ripening method could be used. The ripening method was much gentler and didn't cause much damage to the fruit tree. Of course, this batch of nascent formation fruit was useless. Calculating according to the time in the space, this batch of nascent formation fruit had already grown for more than 4,000 years. It wouldn't take long for it to ripen, so there was no need to spend too much effort to ripen it. As the time in the space of the Ling beads sped up, Wang Daoyuan didn't need to waste time on these secret arts. On the other hand, he could try them on the clan's side. A secret art that could shorten the time it took for Ling plants to ripen was very valuable to the clan. It was equivalent to doubling the value of a high-grade Ling field. Of this Ling plant farmer inheritance, the parts of rank 4 and below could be placed in the clan's scripture tower for the Ling plant farmer to practice. As for the parts of rank 5 and above, the clan didn't have any use for them at the moment, so it was best to hide them first. Chapter 873. His avatar also took out the Earth Divine Lightning and Fire Divine Lightning. Wang Daoyuan carefully examined the two lightning arts. Previously, he had also deduced the two lightning arts using the incomplete manual. Now that he compared them, he realized that he was still far inferior to Divine 5 Thunder. After all, Divine 5 Thunder had cultivated to the mighty figure realm. Before he moved to the central region of the Qianyuan world, the 5 Thunder sect had existed for many years. These two Dharma spells should have been passed down for a long time and had been improved by countless disciples. Their power was not something he could casually deduce. In the family, there were many cultivators with the earth and fire attributes. Even the upper echelons of the family had the third brother, Wang Daocheng, Wang Mingchen, and Wang Dezhao. Although these two lightning arts were not as powerful as the 10th Water Divine Lightning, they were still stronger than the 9th Water Divine Lightning that the Zhao family cultivated blindly. If a member of the family cultivated these two lightning arts, even if he was not very talented, he could become a second or third-rate Golden Core cultivator when he reached the late-stage Golden Core realm. The first 6 levels of these two lightning arts naturally had to be placed in the family's hidden scripture block. The 7th to 9th levels had to be kept strictly confidential. They could only be cultivated with the approval of the upper echelons of the family. Previously, on the Myriad Beast Island, the White Tiger Hallmaster had said that the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts was all-encompassing and disdained to compete with the Tai Sword sect for the position of the number 1 sword cultivation sect. In the beginning, Wang Daoyuan thought that they were bragging. Now, it seemed that they were telling the truth. Many of the sword cultivation Dharma spells and mystic arts in the inheritance were indeed much stronger than those of the Tai Sword sect. In particular, the sword array Dharma spells were more brilliant than those of the Tai Sword sect. Wang Daoyuan did not need to cultivate any sword cultivation Dharma spells for the time being. He simply let his avatar take a look and categorize them. He mainly looked at the research related to divine powers. He had previously obtained a divine power essence from Zhong Zhenyang and benefited greatly. It was thanks to the divine power essence that he was able to comprehend lesser divine powers. If the things that were passed down had such an effect, the complete inheritance would naturally be more brilliant. His avatar flipped through it for a long time and indeed found a mystic art related to divine powers. It also contained the divine power essence and was much more complete than Zhong Zhenyang's book. Zhong Zhenyang's book only contained the method to comprehend the divine ability. Other than that, there was nothing special about it. This was a complete essence of divine powers. It recorded in detail the experiences of generations of patriarchs in the Valley of Beasts when they used the essence of divine powers to awaken lesser divine powers. Later on, there was also how these small divine abilities became stronger step by step. This was extremely valuable. It wasn't enough to just comprehend a divine ability, one had to constantly increase its power. Divine abilities of a single attribute generally had fewer variations. For example, the water manipulation divine ability only increased one's control and power. A slightly more complicated divine ability, such as Zhong Zhenyang's, had to be combined with an escape technique. It recorded the methods of the ancestors of the Valley of Beasts to increase the power and control of their divine arts, as well as their own understandings. This was a priceless treasure for any cultivator with divine abilities. This secret technique couldn't be revealed casually. Only cultivators of the clan who had comprehended a divine ability could cultivate it. Among the divine abilities and secret arts, there were also records related to the Violet Palace phenomenon. The cultivators of the Valley of Beasts had thoroughly researched the Violet Palace phenomenon and divine abilities. Based on their research, They deduced that the Violet Palace phenomenon was formed by the condensation of laws. For example, the 12th uncle's mystic dragon phenomenon was formed by the condensation of all the laws related to the mystic dragon. When one opened the Violet Palace, one's soul would undergo a qualitative change. This was also the beginning of a cultivator's contact with laws. From then on, the cultivator would be noticed by the heavenly Tao. In the future, when one broke through to the next realm, one would encounter a lightning tribulation. The Violet Palace phenomenon was formed by the condensation of the laws during the breakthrough. As for what kind of Violet Palace phenomenon it was related to one's bloodline, cultivation technique, and the things one came into contact with. For example, Wang Daojian's Sword of Origin Restoration was mainly due to the cultivation of the Sword of Origin Restoration. Wang Mingqian's Vermilion Bird phenomenon was due to the influence of his Vermilion Bird bloodline. The 12th uncle's mystic dragon was related to both his cultivation technique and bloodline. There was also the things one came into contact with. In the book, it was mentioned that there was a founder of the Valley of Beasts whose father obtained a spirit fire. He had been in contact with spirit fires since he was young. In the end, when he opened the Violet Palace phenomenon was also a spirit fire. Moreover, it was exactly the same as the spirit fire his father obtained. In the Vermilion Bird Hall Master's comprehension, it was also mentioned that before he formed his core, the sect master and the various elders often let him come into contact with flames related to the phoenix. It seemed that coming into contact with these things could increase the probability of awakening the Nanmingli fire. This made things easier. Wang Daoyuan still had the Red Luan's nirvana flame. This flame had been hidden in the Vermilion Bird phenomenon. When the 5 elements divine beasts fused into Yinglong, this nirvana flame was naturally in Yinglong's body. The Red Luan's nirvana flame was only useful when executing the nirvana mystic technique. It was not of much use normally, so Wang Daoyuan did not take it out. Now, he could take it out and give it to Wang Mingqian temporarily. Although the Red Luan was not a Vermilion Bird, they both belonged to the Phoenix clan. Most of the laws were the same, so the two flames naturally had many similarities. In the Valley of Beasts, there was a Purple Palace phenomenon Grandmaster who was a 5 elements divine beast. He had a deep understanding of the Purple Palace phenomenon. According to him, the Purple Palace phenomenon monster beast and divine beast phenomenon were very similar to souls. Both of them carried all the laws of the monster beast or divine beast. He researched deeply in this aspect and combined some methods to strengthen the soul to create a secret technique to strengthen the Purple Palace phenomenon of beasts. Generally, using the blood essence of similar monster beasts and treasures to strengthen the soul could strengthen the Purple Palace phenomenon. It was also very useful for awakening lesser abilities. In addition, this Grandmaster continued to deduce this secret technique and created a new one. Using the soul of a monster beast and the blood essence of similar monster beasts, it was possible to condense an artificial Purple Palace phenomenon for a cultivator who did not have a Purple Palace phenomenon. The value of a divine beast or a half-step divine beast was much higher than a cultivator who did not have a Purple Palace phenomenon. Therefore, after this secret technique was created, it was only used a few times and was not popularized. After that, this Grandmaster did not continue to deduce this secret technique. According to the records, cultivators who had an artificial Purple Palace phenomenon did not have any abnormalities after that. It was just that the Purple Palace phenomenon was relatively weak and could not be compared to a natural phenomenon of the same kind. Of course, there were also examples of failure. According to the experience of that senior, the Purple Palace phenomenon was best suited to the cultivator's situation. He speculated which Purple Palace phenomenon was most likely to be awakened and used the soul of a similar monster beast to condense the Purple Palace phenomenon. The Valley of Beasts was a big family and had many talented disciples. They did not need this secret technique. However, it was still very valuable to the Wang family. The Wang family only had about 700 years of history. There were very few people who had the potential to break through to the Golden Core realm. For example, second brother Wang Daoxing, little uncle Wang Shouzhe, Zhao Liang, and eighth sister Wang Daoshu did not have a Purple Palace phenomenon. They were also very valuable to the family. Now, they were already over 300 years old. If they could not form their core, they would only have about 100 years of life left. Therefore, Wang Daoyuan had always planned to help them form their core. However, if they formed their core without a purple palace phenomenon, they would only be at the bottom of the golden core realm. If he could add a purple palace phenomenon to them and cultivate a few powerful Dharma spells, they would be a decent golden core realm cultivator. After all, this secret technique involved the purple palace. He could not test it on his own family. None of his existing clones were suitable to use this secret technique. However, Cui Ming, who he met in the Blood Demon Ridge when he was traveling in the southern wasteland, was very suitable. He was at the Purple Palace realm and did not have a Purple Palace phenomenon. After he took out his divided soul, he had been doing odd jobs in the Spirit Pearl space. It was not bad to take it out now. An artificial Purple Palace phenomenon only needed a rank 3 monster beast. Cui Ming was an ice-type monster beast, so he had to find one. Wang Daoyuan sent a few letters to Wang Daojin, asking him to find a living rank 3 ice-type monster beast through Blood Shadow's channels. Ice-type monster beasts were not common, but it depended on who was looking for them. The next day, Wang Daojin arrived at the Jade Spring Peak with a middle-grade 3rd-rank ice attribute tortoise. Chapter 874. Wang Daojin had been cultivating in Qingli City for the past few years. With the new cultivation technique and Wang Daoyuan's copy of the origin returning sword diagram, he had made great progress. Not only had his cultivation improved, but he was also not far from the mid-stage golden core realm. Even the killing intent on his body had increased by quite a bit. Wang Daoyuan smiled. "We haven't seen each other in the past few years. Your cultivation has improved quite a bit." Wang Daojin waved his hand. "Seventh brother, don't make fun of me. I can't compare to you at all. However, second brother's eldest grandson, Wang Digong, is truly a rare genius. I told him to cultivate the sword cultivation technique of the Tai sword sect, and he's making great progress. He's already at the peak of the foundation establishment realm. If he wasn't worried that the Violet Palace phenomenon would be too weak, he would have already tried to establish his Violet Palace. It's just that his sword style is sly, so the sword cultivation technique I gave him isn't very suitable." After hearing this, Wang Daoyuan had his clone copy a thin beast skin book. Then he handed the book to Wang Daojin. "This is a shadow sword art that I just obtained not long ago. It mainly cultivates the sly sword intent. It's perfect for Digong to cultivate. This cultivation technique can be cultivated to the peak of the golden core realm. After he forms his core, I'll give him more advanced content." Wang Daojin took the beast skin book. "I thank seventh brother on behalf of Digong. You must have something important to do with this ice tortoise, so I won't disturb you any further. Goodbye." After he left, Wang Daoyuan began to clean up the ice tortoise. The man-made Violet Palace phenomenon had to be paid special attention to from the moment he killed the demon beast. The soul couldn't be damaged in the slightest, and it couldn't have too much resentment. Otherwise, the secret technique would fail. Wang Daoyuan took out a soul-capturing bottle and used the White Tiger sky-shaking roar to knock the ice tortoise unconscious. He then used an evil technique to extract its soul and placed it in the soul-capturing bottle. Then, he extracted the blood from its body and refined it into blood essence. After the ice tortoise lost its soul, it also lost control of its body and returned to its original size. The ice tortoise was over 30 meters long. The amount of blood extracted was close to 5,000 kilograms. After refining it, there was still over 1,000 kilograms of essence blood left. There was also a trace of aura similar to the black ice tortoises in the blood. It should also have a bit of the black tortoise's bloodline, but it was almost useless. The essence blood itself was the essence of blood. It was already very pure, so there was no need to further process it. The main difficulty lay in dealing with the soul. One had to erase its consciousness and all its instincts while ensuring that the soul was not damaged. Even Wang Daoyuan, a Yuanian cultivator, found it rather troublesome. After all, the Purple Mansion anomaly was only formed from the condensation of laws. his soul would disappear sooner or later. In the end, only the ice tortoise's natural laws would remain. If he kept his consciousness and instincts now, there would be a lot of trouble when he fused with them in the future. In order to increase the success rate, Wang Daoyuan even fused a split soul into Cui Ming's soul. When Cui Ming was performing the secret technique, both of them would be able to communicate with each other. This was to prevent Cui Ming from not cooperating properly when he was in a muddle-headed state. He took out the divided soul in Ruan Chang's body to prevent the clone from developing its own consciousness. After dealing with all this, the ice tortoise's soul was extremely weak and could dissipate at any time. Wang Daoyuan sent the soul into Cui Ming's sea of consciousness with his divine consciousness. At the same time, he sensed the clone's panoramic view. Both of them cooperated seamlessly. Soon, the soul entered the sea of consciousness. Cui Ming's divine consciousness took the soul and guided it into his purple mansion. Then, Cui Ming consumed a few drops of the seven-leaf ghost face flower dew. He performed the secret technique and fused his soul with the ice tortoise's soul. The ice tortoise's soul no longer had any consciousness or instincts. Even after fusing with it, it could only be used as nourishment. It would not affect Cui Ming's soul at all. After fusing with the soul, Cui Ming immediately performed the secret technique to separate the ice tortoise's soul and find the corresponding laws from the soul. During the process of transforming the soul into a divine soul, due to various reasons, he would occasionally sense the power of laws. The Purple Mansion anomaly was only the external manifestation of these laws. The most important thing was whether he could sense them. It could be said that the Purple Mansion anomaly was the key to comprehending the laws. Those without the Purple Mansion anomaly would not be able to sense the power of laws due to insufficient talent or weak cultivation techniques. They also did not have the key to comprehending the laws. If they wanted to comprehend the power of laws, they could only rely on luck. Even if a golden core cultivator demonstrated it, it would be difficult for them to comprehend the power of laws. This secret technique was to fuse the power of laws that he was most likely to sense into his soul, making it easier for him to sense the power of laws. After the ice tortoise's soul fused with Cui Ming's soul, Cui Ming entered a meditative state. At this time, he could not be disturbed by anything. Even putting it into the spirit pearl's space might cause him to fail on the verge of success. Wang Daoyuan completely activated the formation in the cave abode. Then he left the underground cave abode and went to the cave abode on the mountain to meditate. 3 days later, an extremely pure snow-white ball of spirit energy appeared above the earth fire room. After the ball of spirit energy circled a few times, it turned into an ice tortoise and fell into the earth fire room. Wang Daoyuan immediately flew into the earth fire room. He took out the ice tortoise's blood essence and fed it to Cui Ming. After all, this man-made anomaly did not appear when the Purple Mansion was formed. It was very unstable now. He still needed to use the ice tortoise's blood essence to nourish the anomaly and stabilize it. Cui Ming consumed more than 50 kilograms of blood essence before the anomaly was completely stabilized. Of course, compared to the natural Purple Mansion anomaly, it was still a little lacking. It was already very good to be able to reach this step. At least, he had the key to comprehend the power of laws. After putting Cui Ming's clone into the Spirit Pearl's space, he flew directly to the Green Willow province. Blackie's pack had already moved over. A large pack of wolves patrolled the shore of the lake. When they encountered aquatic monsters, they would attack together. Wang Daoyuan had already ordered Yun Yi and Wang Minglong to come here through his clone, the Grey Rock. These two guys were bullying those aquatic monsters in the lake and did not show their faces at all. He did not care about these guys. He went directly to the Green Willow secret territory, where his second brother, Wang Daoxing, was in seclusion. At this time, he had a dispirited look on his face. Wang Daoyuan transmitted a message to him. He quickly opened the cave abode. At this time, his cultivation was already at the peak of the Purple Mansion realm. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Second brother, your cultivation is improving very quickly. You've already reached the peak of the Purple Mansion realm. Why are you still frowning?" Wang Daoxing sighed. Even Wang Dezhao, this grandson of a cultivator, has already formed his core, and it's a 7-inch golden core. As his second grandfather, I still don't have a clue. It's said that without a Purple Mansion anomaly, it's difficult to break through to the Golden Core realm. It seems that I have no hope in this lifetime. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, Wang Dezhao finally stopped delaying. A 7-inch golden core has already surpassed the 12th uncle. If it was in the past, it would have taken a lot of effort to form your core. But now, I've obtained a secret technique that can allow you to have a Purple Mansion anomaly. As long as you have a Purple Mansion anomaly, comprehending the power of laws will be easy. Hearing this, Wang Daoxing was very excited. Seventh brother, tell me what secret technique it is. I'll definitely cultivate it well. I'm willing to pay any price. Wang Daoyuan didn't immediately tell him the man-made Purple Mansion anomaly secret technique. I'll test you first to see what kind of Purple Mansion anomaly you're most likely to awaken. Relax your soul. No matter what I do, don't resist. Wang Daoxing nodded. Wang Daoyuan used the hypnotic technique that came with the secret technique. Wang Daoxing fell into a deep sleep and fell into a dream. The Purple Mansion anomaly that was most likely to appear would appear in his dream. Half a day later, Wang Daoxing woke up. Second brother, what did you dream of? I was being chased by a golden-eyed jade tiger. The golden-eyed jade tiger also had the bloodline of the white tiger. However, its bloodline was relatively thin, and it was far from being considered a half-divine beast. Its status was equivalent to that of an ordinary Hua dragon among the dragon species. The level of this anomaly was about the same as the third brother's firewing quail. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This golden-eyed jade tiger will be your Purple Mansion anomaly in the future. Wait here. I'll go prepare and create a golden-eyed jade tiger anomaly for you. Chapter 875. With that, Wang Daoyuan left the secret realm and sent a message to Wang Daojian, asking him to find a high-grade Tier 3 golden-eyed jade tiger. 2 days later, Wang Daojian delivered a high-grade Tier 3 golden-eyed jade tiger. He was curious. Seventh brother, I'm curious. With your current cultivation base, Tier 4 demonic beasts are useless to you. What use do you have for these Tier 3 demonic beasts? Wang Daoyuan smiled. This isn't a secret. I obtained a man-made Violet Palace avatar secret technique, and I want to create one for second brother. Previously, I tested second brother with a secret technique, and he's most suited to awaken the golden-eyed jade tiger avatar. Wang Daojian was shocked. You can even create a Violet Palace avatar? I tested it on the ice turtle earlier, and it's not bad. It's just slightly inferior to a natural Violet Palace avatar, but it's enough to help you comprehend the laws. In that case, won't all the Violet Palace realm cultivators in our Wang clan have a chance to form their cores? Wang Daoyuan nodded. If it weren't for the fact that the clan can have a few more golden core cultivators, I wouldn't have bothered to put in so much effort. I still have to deal with the golden-eyed jade tiger. You can go ahead. After Wang Daojian left, Wang Daoyuan began to deal with the golden-eyed jade tiger. There was no difference in the way he dealt with it. He had already taught Wang Daoxing the secret technique of fusing the demonic beast's soul and separating it into the laws. After dealing with it, Wang Daoyuan returned to his cave abode. Wang Daoxing saw him enter, and his face was filled with excitement. Seventh brother, I'm ready. Wang Daoyuan gave him a dozen drops of 7-leaf ghost face flowery dew. Drink this. I'll send the golden-eyed jade tiger's soul into your sea of consciousness. This soul is already extremely weak, and the slightest movement might cause it to collapse. During this process, you must not have any thoughts of resisting. After the soul enters your sea of consciousness, you must use your divine sense to receive it and merge it into your own soul. Then use a secret technique to separate the soul. You don't have to worry too much. Even if you fail, there won't be any serious consequences. I'll get Daojian to send another golden-eyed jade tiger over. After both of them were ready, Wang Daoyuan took out the golden-eyed jade tiger's soul from the soul-capturing bottle and sent it into Wang Daoxing's knowledge sea with his spiritual sense. Wang Daoxing also used the power of his spiritual sense to receive the soul. The handover process was very smooth, and no problems were found. As for the rest, he could only rely on himself. Wang Daoyuan activated all the defensive formations in the cave to prevent him from being disturbed. Then he left Wang Daoxing's cave abode and stood guard outside. 3 days later, an extremely pure silver ball of spiritual energy appeared outside Wang Daoxing's cave. A moment later, this mass of spiritual energy turned into a fierce tiger. Its eyes glowed with a golden light, and the fur on its body was like white jade. It was the golden-eyed jade tiger. The tiger circled the cave abode for a few breaths of time before plunging into the cave abode. The array formation was unable to stop it at all. The golden-eyed jade tiger's blood essence had already been given to Wang Daoxing, and the method to nurture the Violet Palace manifestation had also been given to him. Wang Daoyuan didn't need to get involved. He could just wait for him to come out of seclusion. Half a day later, Wang Daoxing opened the door to the cave abode. His face was filled with joy. "Seventh brother, I really have a Violet Palace manifestation." Then, a purple light flickered between his eyebrows, and a 3-inch-long golden-eyed jade tiger appeared above his head. Then, a foot-long golden sword phantom appeared in his hand. This phantom clearly contained fluctuations similar to the power of law. It was already able to imitate the power of the metal element. My mind was completely focused on the Violet Palace manifestation, and I didn't think about the power of law. But when the Violet Palace manifestation appeared, I suddenly felt the power of the metal element. Can I form my core now? Wang Daoyuan didn't expect that there would be such a benefit to forming an artificial Violet Palace manifestation at the peak of the Violet Palace realm. The examples recorded in the secret technique were all for early Violet Palace realm cultivators. Early Violet Palace realm cultivators weren't able to comprehend the power of law, so such a situation had never occurred. Perhaps the senior who created this secret technique didn't know that forming a Violet Palace realm manifestation at the peak of the Violet Palace realm would have such an effect. If that was really the case, he would wait for his clansmen to reach the peak of the Violet Palace realm before forming a Violet Palace manifestation for them. He could take advantage of this opportunity to comprehend the power of law and save time. It wasn't strange for cultivators with poor perception to be stuck at the peak of the Violet Palace realm for decades or even centuries. It was a pleasant surprise to be able to save time. Wang Daoyuan had his clone copy a cultivation technique manual. He took out the space and handed it to Wang Daoxing. The cultivation technique you're currently cultivating is too weak. Your potential for forming your core is too low. This is the White Tiger Sword Codex. It's very suitable for your golden-eyed jade tiger manifestation. You can change your cultivation technique first. After all, it's only a matter of a few years. You still have more than 20 years to reach 400 years old. There's no need to rush. Even if you're 400 years old and your blood essence declines, the clan has enough resources to replenish it. After you're done cultivating the cultivation technique, remember to hand it over to the Jade Spring Peak's hidden scripture block or the Clear Glass City's Imperial Study Room. Wang Daoxing's spirit root talent wasn't weak. It was comparable to Wang Mingshan's. They both had 3 spirit roots. His main spirit root was more than 7 inches long. If his cultivation technique wasn't too weak, it wouldn't be difficult for him to awaken a half-divine beast manifestation. He had suffered enough due to his cultivation technique being too weak. No one knew better than him the importance of strengthening one's foundation. Wang Daoxing nodded. Then I'll change my cultivation technique first. The cultivation technique I was cultivating previously caused me to be in trouble. It's enough to suffer once. I don't want to suffer again. Wang Daoyuan left Green Willow Province and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. His uncle Wang Shouzhe, Zhao Liang, and his 8th sister Wang Daoshu were also in urgent need of forming their core to extend their lifespans. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, he scanned the area with his divine perception and found that the 3 of them were all there. Wang Daoyuan sent them a message and asked them to come to his underground cave abode. After the 3 of them arrived, Wang Daoyuan said, "I obtained a secret technique to condense a purple mansion manifestation. Second brother already has a purple mansion manifestation. He can form his core anytime now. It's just that his previous cultivation technique was too weak. He needs to change his cultivation technique first." Hearing this, the 3 of them couldn't believe it. His uncle asked, There's such a technique? Does that mean the three of us can also condense a purple mansion manifestation? Wang Daoyuan nodded. Of course. I asked you to come over so that you can be prepared. After second brother condensed his purple mansion manifestation, he also comprehended the power of laws. It's best if you cultivate to the peak of the purple mansion realm. Then, you can save a few decades of time to comprehend the laws. It's best to change your cultivation technique first to avoid trouble in the future. Zhao Liang's cultivation technique was given to him by Master. There's no need for him to change his cultivation technique. Uncle cultivates the overturned sea art. There's also no need for him to change his cultivation technique. Eighth sister's cultivation technique is rather weak. It's better for her to change her cultivation technique. I'll use a secret technique to test what kind of purple mansion manifestation you're most likely to awaken. If you cultivate the corresponding cultivation technique, you'll be able to save a lot of cultivation techniques. The three of them naturally had no objections. Wang Daoyuan used a secret technique on eighth sister, and she quickly fell into a deep sleep. Half a day later, the two of them woke up. Wang Daoyuan asked, "What did you dream of?" Eighth sister replied, "A sparrow with a long jade-green tail." She was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots. Her main spiritual root was a 5-inch wood-type spiritual root. Her innate talent wasn't bad, but it could only be considered average. Previously, the clan didn't have any good wood-type cultivation techniques. Otherwise, she might have been able to awaken a purple mansion manifestation. Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book from his spiritual pearl. That should be the jade sparrow. This is a wood-type cultivation technique called the jade feather art. It's quite suitable for you to cultivate. Hurry up and reach the peak of the purple mansion realm as soon as possible. The three of them had just reached the late-stage purple mansion realm, and they had only reached this stage after spending a large amount of resources. If it weren't for the fact that the Wang clan was now so wealthy, they wouldn't have any hope of reaching the late-stage purple mansion realm. Of course, their value was also extremely high. Wang Shouja was now a 4th-grade high-grade formation master, and Zhao Liang was a 4th-grade mid-grade tool refiner. Eighth sister was extremely talented in the path of spirit chef. Although spirit chefs weren't ranked, her attainments weren't low. Even if the three of them were placed in a place like the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the sect would definitely do their best to help them reach the core formation stage. Chapter 876. After giving some instructions, the three of them left the cave abode. His clone sorted through the inheritance in the Spirit Pearl's space and discovered the refinement methods of 2 special Dharma artifacts. He had seen these 2 Dharma artifacts at the Blood Shadow headquarters before. They were the Pure Yang Pearl and the Moon Pearl. The Pure Yang Pearl used the soul of a golden crow's bloodline as the source of Yang energy, while the Moon Pearl used the Moon Pearl as the source of Yin energy. With these 2 items, he could plant purple cloud wood in the mystic realm. To plant purple cloud wood in the outside world, the environmental requirements were extremely high. All kinds of arrays had to be set up. The Wang family's main resources were used on their clansmen. Of course, the forces in Beiyuan Xiuxian that had the ability to plant purple cloud wood were rarely willing to do so in the outside world. After all, the purple qi in the outside world depended on the sun and moon. There was only purple qi in the morning. Even with the array, it would take a few thousand years for the purple cloud wood to grow a purple cloud wood core. The most reliable place was the mystic realm. With these 2 treasures in the mystic realm, they could continuously provide purple qi. Even if the amount of purple qi was small, it could be sustained. There was a limit to how much purple qi the purple cloud wood core could absorb. No matter how much purple qi there was, it could not be absorbed in a short period of time. A large amount of purple qi that appeared in an instant was far inferior to a small amount of continuous purple qi. According to the records in the book, the 4th-tier upper-grade Pure Yang Pearl and Moonlight Pearl could allow the purple cloud wood to grow a purple cloud wood core within 3,000 years. The 5th-grade Pure Yang Pearl could shorten this time to 2,000 years. Although the Spirit Pearl space could also produce purple cloud wood, Wang Daoyuan could not stay with the family forever. It was better to leave some foundation for the family. This was to prevent the family from declining when he traveled the Qianyuan world in the future. Wang Daoyuan wanted to refine these two Dharma artifacts, but he had been busy, so it was delayed. Now that his clone had found the refinement methods for these two Dharma artifacts, he had nothing urgent to do. It was just the right time to refine them. The Valley of Beasts refinement techniques were obviously much more advanced than the Blood Shadows. They did not need the soul of a Golden Crow's bloodline demon or the Moon Pearl. They only needed the pure yin and yang energy. Wang Daoyuan naturally did not lack such things. Scarlet Yang True Fire and Gui Water Death Flame would do. As for the carrier, it would be best to choose a Pseudo-Dragon Ball. Wang Daoyuan still had quite a few rank 4 Pseudo-Dragon Pearls in his possession. Back when he left Beiyuan, he had killed a peak rank 4 jade-scaled Jiao Dragon. Later on, along the way out to sea, although they didn't encounter many dragon species, they still killed a few. After returning to Beiyuan, he slaughtered many rank 4 monsters. He already had more than 10 tier 4 pseudo-dragon balls in his possession. Among them, there were 2 peak tier 4 pseudo-dragon balls, while the rest were all high-grade tier 4. Currently, he had no use for the tier 4 magic tool, so he had been keeping it in his possession. To refine the pure yang bead, it would be best to use the fire attribute pseudo-dragon balls, and it would be best to use the water attribute pseudo-dragon balls for the moon essence pearl. The 2 pseudo-dragon balls should be of the same grade. Currently, there were 2 peak rank 4 pseudo-dragon balls, one of which was of the wood attribute and the other of which was of the water attribute. The wood attribute pseudo-dragon balls were not suitable for refining the pure yang bead. Wang Daoyuan could only settle for the next best thing, which was to refine the high-grade tier 4 pseudo-dragon balls. With his current means, using high-grade tier 4 materials to refine a low-grade tier 5 magic tool was not too much of a problem. Taking out 1 water and 1 fire, 2 high-grade tier 4 pseudo-dragon balls, he began to refine according to the recorded refining method. The inheritance of a big force had this advantage. The methods used by the ancestors of the previous generations to refine this kind of magic tool were also completely recorded. Wang Daoyuan could now refer to the refining methods of the predecessors, and the success rate could be slightly higher. Before starting to refine, he first separated the pseudo-spirit fire of the Scarlet Yang True Fire and Gui Water Death Flame from the space of the Spirit Pearl. Although the Spirit Fire would lose a part of its energy, with the essence of the 5 elements, it was not a big problem. After being nurtured in the space of the Spirit Pearl for half a year, the 2 pseudo-spirit fire turned into spirit fire. Wang Daoyuan also began to refine the pure yang bead and the moon essence pearl. The main reason for this was that the materials were precious, and the refining difficulty was not high. In half a month, the 2 magic tools were completed, and they were both low-grade tier 5 magic tools. Then, he left the Jade Spring Peak and headed to the 5 Elements Mystery Realm. Planting the purple cloud would require a large area. The Green Willow Mystery Realm had greater potential for development, and there were more precious spirit items. Using a large area to plant the purple cloud wood was too much of a loss. Moreover, the area needed to plant the purple cloud wood did not need to be too big, so that the purple gas would not be too dispersed. The Wang family did not have any smaller mystery realms, so they could only make do with this. When he arrived outside the 5 Elements Mystery Realm, it was very busy. Flying boats constantly took off from nearby. The flying boats carried many ordinary clansmen and headed north. The only property of the Wang family there was Mount Serene. It seemed that the family's plan to relocate the ordinary clansmen had already begun. The clansmen on the flying boats did not feel fear. Instead, they were somewhat excited. The family had been relocating to the 5 Elements Mystery Realm for nearly 300 years, and the mortals had already reproduced for about 20 generations. The 5 Elements Mystery Realm was only so big, and about half of the land was not suitable for ordinary people to live in. Most of the remaining land would be turned into spirit fields. A small part would be turned into farmland, so the living space of the clansmen would definitely be extremely small. Now that they could move out and live in a wider place, they were naturally very happy. After entering the 5 Elements Mystery Realm, a few Zifu realm cultivators were here to oversee the relocation of the clansmen. Seeing Wang Daoyuan arrive, they all bowed. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "You guys can do your own things. Don't worry about me." At this moment, the concentration of spirit energy in the space of the spirit pearl was low-grade tier 4. It was not too far away from mid-grade tier 4. However, the core of the 5 elements mystery realm was the 5 elements heaven suppression seal, which was only a mid-grade tier 4 magic artifact. If the heaven suppression seal did not advance, the spirit vein would not advance either. Wang Daoyuan did not dare to rashly use the heaven suppression seal to avoid implicating the entire mystery realm. In any case, the tier 4 mystery realm was already enough for the family, especially for cultivating the purple cloudwood. It was more than enough. There was no need to take this risk. Moreover, the 5 elements mystery realm was a semi-natural mystery realm. With the recovery of spirit energy in the heaven/mountain range, the space of this mystery realm would slowly expand. Its potential was still not bad. Wang Daoyuan flew to the crater of the volcano in the center of the southern fire region. This was the place with the densest fire spirit energy in the entire mystery realm. If the pure yang pearl was placed here, it could also absorb more fire spirit energy. He took out a 9-inch and 9-centimeter reddish gold pearl and placed it right above the crater. The pearl was engraved with floating patterns and automatically floated in the air. As soon as the pure yang pearl appeared, a large amount of fire spirit energy surged towards it. After the pearl absorbed the fire spirit energy, it emitted a reddish gold light. Then, he flew to the center of the northern water region. Below it was a low-grade tier 4 spirit spring. This was the place with the densest water spirit energy. It was the most suitable place to place the moon pearl. He took out a jade-white pearl and placed it in the air. After the moon pearl absorbed the water spirit energy, it emitted a jade-white light that was very similar to moonlight. At this moment, the 2 types of light converged in the central region. A small amount of purple chi appeared here. As time passed, more and more purple chi appeared. When the Zifu disciples in the mystery realm saw the purple chi, they all had excited looks on their faces. This purple chi was able to directly increase one's cultivation level. It was extremely useful to Zifu disciples. Wang Daoyuan flew to the central region, then took out several hundred violet cloud tree saplings from the space within the soul pearl. An early-stage Zifu disciple walked over and clasped his hands. "My great-grandson Wang Tungwen is here on the orders of the clan leader to guard the 5 elements mystery realm. Dare I ask, 7th great-grandfather, are you planning to plant violet cloud trees in this mystery realm?" Wang Tungwen was the great-great-grandson of his 6th uncle, Wang Shoufeng. He was a 3 spirit roots cultivator, and his main spirit root was a 7-inch and 9-centimeter spirit root. His innate talent was even slightly greater than Wang Mingshan's, and he was also a promising talent. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Correct. I am indeed planning to plant violet cloud trees. The 2 low-grade tier 5 magic treasures in the sky are meant to produce purple chi and grow violet cloud trees." Chapter 877. The Wang family had experienced several hundred years of development, and their clansmen had also grown to a considerable scale. Once the number of people increased, there would naturally be all kinds of internal problems. The Wang family was also showing signs of this. The biggest internal problem was that there were factions among Wang Shoufeng's descendants. This faction had been guarding the 5 elements mystic realm for more than 300 years, and they had quite a number of people. Back then, Wang Shoufeng had failed in his bid for the family's power and had been hidden away for decades. Later on, the Wang family developed the 5 elements mystery realm and sent Wang Shoufeng and a few of his clansmen here. His descendants also took root here. The Wang family began to infiltrate Blood Shadow, and some of his descendants also joined Blood Shadow. Wang Dekhong, who was in charge of the Shanbei branch, was Wang Shoufeng's great-grandson. However, the head of the Blood Shadow Mountain's northern branch was still Wang Daojin. Wang Shoufeng's faction didn't have much authority over there. The status of this lineage was mainly dependent on the 5 elements mystery realm. However, the people who truly held power in the Wang clan were still the same group of people back then. Needless to say, in the Yen Kingdom, this could only be passed down from father to son. There was no reason for it to be passed down to clansmen. They could fight for the position of patriarch, but the current patriarch was Wang Mingshan, and the next most competitive person was Wang Dezhao. Although Wang Shoufeng's clansmen had reached a certain scale, they still couldn't cause any big waves. Especially now that the family was still in the expansion period, there were too many resources to swallow, and there were no obvious conflicts between the clansmen, so the factions naturally could not cause trouble. When Wang Mingchen and the others migrated their clansmen, they also paid attention to breaking the barriers between the factions. While moving the clansmen of the Five Elements Mystery Realm to the serene South Mountain, they also moved some clansmen from the vicinity of the Jade Spring Peak. It was impossible for any large family to be harmonious. It was inevitable that there would be factions. As long as it didn't harm the clan's interests, there was no need to be ruthless. However, some preparations still needed to be made. If the faction was allowed to grow, it would definitely cause a huge split in the family. Ever since the Wang clan obtained the Green Willow Secret Realm, the status of the Five Elements Secret Realm had plummeted. Now that Wang Daoyuan was cultivating the Purple Cloud wood here, it was needless to say how valuable it was. With such an important item in the Five Elements Mystery Realm, Wang Tungwen, as the manager of the Mystery Realm, would naturally have a higher status in the future. He raised his hands and said, "You don't need to do such a small thing. My great-grandson is also a ling plant farmer and is more than enough to plant purple cloudwood. Seventh great-grandfather, just leave these things to me." After Wang Daoyuan handed over some matters, he left the Five Elements Mystery Realm and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. In the past half a year, his clone had already sorted out the inheritances that he had obtained. He had already made 2 copies of the cultivation methods that were suitable for his clansmen to cultivate. One set was placed in Jade Spring Peak, and the other set was placed in the Imperial Study of Clear Glass City. After returning to Jade Spring Peak, he went straight to the Executive Hall. Wang Daoyuan was working here. Wang Daoyuan took out a universe ring and said, "This is the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts that I received. There are techniques, spells, pills, weapons, seal formations, and the inheritance of a spirit plant farmer. They can all cultivate to the peak of the 4th stage. As for the higher level of inheritance, it's better to wait until your clansmen cultivate to the peak of the Golden Core Realm before coming to me." Wang Mingshan took the interspatial ring and probed it with his divine senses. He was stunned. The Cosmos ring was filled with beastskin books and jade slips. None of the previous inheritances of the Wang clan could compare to these. Of course, this was only part of it. These inheritances were all for his own clansmen to cultivate. He didn't take out the weaker inheritances at all. The inheritances left behind by the dozen or so Grand Ascension Realm Grandmasters in the Valley of Beasts, as well as all kinds of rare secret techniques, naturally couldn't be easily revealed. These things were the core inheritances of the Wang clan. Only the core members of the clan had the right to cultivate them. Among them was the complete true dragon body tempering technique that could be cultivated to the late Grand Ascension realm. Then he left Jade Spring Peak and headed to Clear Glass City. He came to the Imperial Study of the Imperial Palace. This was where Wang Mingchen usually handled official business. It was also where the Imperial Palace stored all kinds of books and records. At this time, Wang Mingchen was handling official business here. Wang Shui and Wang Daochang were also here to help. Seeing Wang Daoyuan come, Wang Mingchen hurriedly came over to pay his respects. Wang Daoyuan took out 2 universe rings. One was a 4th stage interspatial ring, and the other was a 5th stage interspatial ring. These are the inheritances of the Valley of Beasts that I sorted out. The things in the 5th stage interspatial ring are for our own people to cultivate. The 4th stage interspatial ring contains the inheritances collected by the Valley of Beasts. It's much more shallow than the Valley of Beasts' own inheritances. There are many rogue cultivators who serve the Yen Kingdom. These shallow inheritances are used to reward meritorious subjects. For those rogue cultivators, any of the inheritances here are priceless treasures. By the way, the Valley of Beasts also has the complete Fire Divine Thunder and Earth Divine Thunder. You can cultivate them when you have time. Wang Mingchen took the interspatial ring and smiled. Although there are many rogue cultivators who seek refuge in the Yen Kingdom, their cultivation has always been not high. Lu Yuan's cultivation is already the highest among them. Rogue cultivators only want two things. One is to improve their cultivation, and the other is to establish a clan. Now that Clear Glass County, Linhai County, and the future Serene South County will not be given to rogue cultivators, the attraction of establishing a clan is not enough. In terms of improving cultivation, we don't have enough yin-yang purple jade and purple cloudwood core. We can't give them to rogue cultivators. Now that we have these techniques, we should be able to attract many rogue cultivators to join us. I hope so. Our Wang clan's foundation is still too shallow. We don't have enough manpower to manage things. The original native clans of Clear Glass County have even shallower foundations than our Wang clan. Until now, there are only two Zifu clans, the Yang clan and the Wang clan. It's hopeless to count on them. The other clans added together have less people than our Wang clan. Although there are some talented cultivators, without the support of vast resources, they can only produce a few Zifu realm cultivators at most. Hopefully, these inheritances can attract a few rogue cultivators. Then, he took out the Red Luan Nirvana fire from Yinglong's avatar. This is the Red Luan Nirvana fire that your mother gave me. To me, it has no other use except for using the Nirvana secret technique to heal. I only used it once when I quelled the Southern Wasteland Demon Rebellion. I don't usually use it. It's also very beneficial for you to come into contact with spirit fires related to the Phoenix clan. Take it first. Wang Mingchen took out a small gourd and collected the flames. Many thanks, Father. I definitely won't let you down. This gourd was his life-bound magic artifact. Its function was similar to the meteor fire controlling gourd, and it was also made by Adept Thunder Flame. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. No need to feel too burdened. Even without the minor divine ability of the Vermilion Flame, it's no big deal. Cultivators with heavenly spiritual roots will definitely have divine abilities. A mere spirit fire can only increase their battle prowess by a bit. Then, Wang Daoyuan asked again, Sixth Uncle's descendants are already showing signs of becoming part of a faction. What are your plans? Wang Shui sighed. It seems you've also noticed. Sixth brother made many contributions to the development of the elemental mystery realm. In order to guard against him, the clan didn't give him a chance to reach foundation establishment. He didn't have any complaints, and the clan's upper echelons didn't suppress his descendants either. However, it was inevitable that there would be some conflicts between the juniors. Sixth brother's descendants were ostracized in other places, so they couldn't help but form a group. The cultivators in the elemental mystery realm were also led by Sixth brother's descendants. This faction has already been formed. They didn't do anything harmful to the clan, so it's not good to deal with them. After all, they also contributed a lot to the development of the elemental mystery realm. Wang Daoyuan nodded. I refined 2 magic artifacts in the elemental mystery realm. They can produce purple chi when used together, so I planted some purple cloud wood in the elemental mystery realm. The person in charge there is Wang Tongwen. He's quite talented. In the future, find a reason to promote him to the clan or the imperial court. Send another cultivator to look after the elemental mystery realm. The clan has enough businesses and territory. Separate Sixth Uncle's descendants and gradually distribute them to the various businesses. Those with talent must be treated equally and gradually eliminate the barriers. Chapter 878. They knew very well what the purple cloud tree meant to a clan. With it, the clan could nurture a large number of Zifu realm cultivators. Although the clan didn't lack such spiritual items now, they relied on the clan's upper echelons to help the other clansmen. This situation couldn't continue forever. The clan's upper echelons had led the clan step by step. They had deep feelings for the clan and would try their best to maintain the stability of the clan. As the clan's population swelled, factional conflicts were inevitable. With the suppression of the upper echelons, the internal conflicts wouldn't be too serious. But now that the upper echelons had high cultivation and had even passed away, they couldn't care about the trivial matters of the clan. The successors didn't have the feelings of the older generation's upper echelons. They themselves were from different factions. When doing things, they paid more attention to the interests of the faction and couldn't continue to help the other clansmen. Without the help of the upper echelons, those clansmen whose talent wasn't considered top-notch might not have spiritual items that could help them establish their Zifu. At that time, the clan might be divided. Now that they could plant the purple cloud tree on their own, there would be more opportunities in the future. It would more or less play a role in the future stability of the clan. Wang Daochang asked, "How many purple cloud trees can you plant?" Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book and handed it to Wang Mingchen. Right now, there are only a little more than 100. However, the core of these two artifacts is spiritual fire. I separated a bit of flame from the spiritual fire I refined, and it's only a stage 3 spiritual fire now. Although the spiritual fire's potential isn't too great, it won't be a problem for it to grow to the peak of stage 4. At that time, it should be able to nurture over 1,000 purple cloud trees. With the two artifacts, the purple cloud trees will grow faster. With the current level, they can grow a purple cloud tree heart within 2,000 years. This is the refining method for the pure yang pearl and moonlight pearl. In the future, when we find suitable materials, we can refine more. There are many mystic realms in the heaven/mountain range. In the future, we should be able to find suitable places to plant the purple cloud trees. Wang Shui sighed. With these things, we don't have to worry about serious factional conflicts in the clan after we retire. While we still have time to manage things, we can try to mend the internal conflicts in the clan. In the future, we won't be able to manage things. Wang Daoyuan chuckled. 12th uncle, you don't have to be so pessimistic. For now, 6th uncle's branch can't cause any big trouble. As long as we scatter 6th uncle's cultivator descendants to different places, we won't have to worry about them ganging up on us. I've already thought of a way to solve this problem. If they really couldn't mend the gap, they could just take the path of enfeoffment. There were many territories in Shanbei. Only the Zhao family had bought a piece of land in the Sky-Zhan mountain range. If the internal strife was too intense, he would give the clan member who was in a good mood a title and let him establish a branch family in another place. This was called poisoning the outside world. It allowed them to use their ability to cause trouble to deal with the demons and other forces. It could also expand the living space of their clansmen. Kicking them out of the main branch can also be considered a punishment for them. It's also a warning to the other clansmen not to cause too much trouble. This was also a system of enfeoffment. Whether it was the dynasty in his previous life or the Zhou nation in this world, they had all implemented enfeoffment. Although it might weaken the family's strength, it was much better than internal strife. Moreover, the most basic structure of the immortal cultivation world was family. Every family had their own territory, which was in fact a small vassal state. Therefore, when a family developed to a certain extent, enfeoffment was inevitable. Of course, enfeoffment also had great benefits. Back then, the Zhou nation relied on the vassal states under it to gradually expand to the size of the current territory of the various countries. Its strength was close to the 4 top forces. Although it fell apart later, the Zhou nation passed on the conflict and did not have large-scale internal strife. Now, it was still a large force second only to the top forces. The reason why it did not advance further was that the Zhou family's inheritance was still lacking. After all, the ancestor of the Zhou family, Zhou Tonpeng, was only a direct disciple of the Valley of Beasts. When he escaped, it was impossible for him to bring a large number of inheritances. Relying on the cultivation techniques and dharma spells that he had mastered, he could not compare to the 4 top forces. Now, the countries that the Zhou nation had established were still under the orders of Emperor Zhou. Wang Daochang smiled and said, "This method is not bad. There is a vast space for them to develop in the north of Shanbei and west of the Sky-Zhan mountain range. Those who like internal strife have some ability. Let them fight with other forces. In the future, when they don't have enough territory, they can expand to the East Sea. Even if there are no islands, use dharma spells to create islands for them and let them fight." Before he finished speaking, he took out a communication jade talisman and checked it. Then, his face revealed a look of ecstasy. Wang Daoyuan asked. "Third brother, what are you so happy about?" Wang Daochang laughed and said, "One of my grandsons tested for a heavenly spirit root." Hearing this, everyone's face revealed a look of joy. Wang Shui was also very excited. "Our family finally has a second heavenly spirit root cultivator. I have to hurry over and take a look." Wang Daoyuan instructed, "Mingchen, you continue to deal with official matters. I will go to Jade Spring Mountain with your 12th uncle and 3rd uncle to take a look." The three of them boarded a flying boat and arrived at Jade Spring Mountain. A group of people gathered under a large pine tree by the Jade Dragon Spring. The three of them came under the large willow tree. Wang Mingshan was also among the crowd. At this time, he was holding a spirit testing disc and testing a little boy's spirit root. This little guy was quite handsome and looked a lot like third brother Wang Daochang. Being surrounded by so many people, he was not flustered at all and had a calm look. On the spirit testing disc, a 9-inch 3-meter tall black light pillar appeared. There was no mistake, it was indeed a heavenly spirit root. The surrounding clansmen were also talking loudly. Some were congratulating him while others were envious. But this little guy was still as calm as ever, not moved in the slightest. Wang Daoyuan secretly nodded. Not only was his talent good, but his personality was also very calm. Such a junior was truly hard to come by. Dispersing the clansmen, he brought the little guy to the family's hall. He took out a thin beast skin book from the space of the spirit pearl and handed it to third brother. This is the Valley of Beasts Black Tortoise Hall's core cultivation technique, the Black Tortoise Water Resistance Technique. It can be cultivated to the late stage of Great Ascension. I still have some cultivation techniques of the same level here. These things will be the core inheritance of our family in the future. This is part of the qi refining and foundation establishment stages. When the little guy cultivates to the qi refining stage, you can give him the cultivation technique. Right? What's the little guy's name? The little guy cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, 7th great uncle. I don't have a proper name yet. My nickname is Erhu." This nickname had the characteristics of the Wang family. It was loud but not elegant enough. Wang Daochang smiled and said, "7th brother, why don't you help him come up with a proper name?" Wang Daoyuan hurriedly waved his hand. "You, as his grandfather, should do it. I won't overstep my boundaries. According to our rules, if a clansman gives birth to a heavenly spirit root descendant, he will be rewarded with 100,000 contribution points. We can't treat him unfairly." Wang Daochang nodded. Since he has a water-type heavenly spirit root, his name should be related to water. Let's call him Wang Delin. This proper name was the opposite of his nickname. It was elegant but not loud enough. Wang Shui carefully used his divine sense to examine the little guy. "I feel that something is wrong. Mingchen also has a heavenly spirit root. But when he's not cultivating, his absorption of spirit qi is not as obvious as Delin's. This child can't have a water-type spirit body, right?" Wang Daoyuan used his heaven-prying eye to examine him. This little guy's constitution was indeed not ordinary. The inheritance of the Valley of Beasts has a method to detect spirit bodies. Let me try it out. Although spirit bodies were rare, the Valley of Beasts was a sect that was established more than 200,000 years ago and had lasted for more than 100,000 years. There were still many of them. They had also created a few secret techniques to detect spirit bodies. They could detect if a cultivator had a spirit body at a young age. Wang Daoyuan took out a jade scroll and looked at it for a long time. A jade-colored light condensed in his hand and shone on Wang Delin's body. The light was instantly absorbed. A black light appeared on the little guy's body. There was also an intense fluctuation of water-type spirit qi. He really does have a water-type spirit body. Our Wang family has produced a peerless genius. If we nurture him well, it won't be a problem for him to form his core before he's 200 years old. Chapter 879. As Wang Delin's grandfather, Wang Daochang knew that his grandson not only had a heavenly spirit root, but also a water spirit body. Naturally, he was very excited. Although I have an 8-inch fire spirit root, I have 3 spirit roots. It has always been my regret that I can't become a cultivator with 2 spirit roots. My and Yuqing's children's talents are not as good as mine. I didn't expect such a peerless genius to come from my grandchildren. Delin, come with me to your grandmother's grave to report the good news. His Dao partner was Wang Daoyuan's cousin, Yang Yuqing. Her talent was only average, and she had passed away many years before she could open her purple palace. Wang Daocheng was also an infatuated person. He had not remarried for so many years. This was similar to Wang Daoyuan. However, Wang Daoyuan was forced to do so. The two of them had 4 children, and all of them had spirit roots. However, their talents were not very good. The one with the best spirit root was only a 3-inch spirit root. His main spirit root was only 6 inches. It was far inferior to Wang Daocheng. When Yang Yuqing was alive, she had always been troubled by this. Now that there was an extremely talented descendant, it could be considered as a consolation to his late wife's soul. Wang Daoyuan also returned to his underground cave abode and continued with his own matters. Although there were no urgent matters, there were still many small matters. For example, he could improve his blacksmithing and array formation skills to refine higher-level puppets. He could also improve his Earth Divine Lightning and Ice Fire Divine Lightning to the 5th level. The next time he went to the Qixing Sea Xiuxin community, he would have a way to hide his identity. The 8 elders of the Valley of Beasts were watching over the East Sea, so there was no need to worry about the demon beasts rampaging in the sea. Ever since the peace talks between the humans and demons, many itinerant cultivators had flooded into the northern mountains. There were also many itinerant cultivators at the border between the human and demon territories. According to the information spread by these itinerant cultivators, the demons of the sky/mountain range and the demons of the extreme Arctic ice plains had been fighting both openly and secretly. Both sides were fighting over the overlapping area of the sky/mountain range and the extreme Arctic ice plains. They had no time to look for trouble in the south. The demon beasts of the West Sea also did not make any movements. This gave the humans enough time to develop. Unless a 6th-level demon beast appeared, there was no doubt that the humans would suppress the demons. The demons stopped, and Wang Daoyuan was not disturbed. Just like that, he spent 5 years in seclusion in the underground cave of the Jade Spring Peak. During this period of time, nothing major happened. He used high-grade Tier 4 materials to refine a low-grade Tier 5 flying warship, and then he used high-grade Tier 4 materials to refine a low-grade Tier 5 magic artifact. This method had an extremely good effect on the refinement level. Over the past 5 years, his proficiency in smithing and formations had reached the 5th grade intermediate tier. Along the way, he had also upgraded the Earth Element Divine Lightning and the Fire Element Divine Lightning to the 5th grade. He still wanted to refine a mid-grade Tier 5 sword puppet, but at this time, Wang Mingchen sent news that he was about to undergo the Jindan Heavenly Tribulation. Wang Daoyuan did not dare to delay this matter and immediately headed for Clear Glass City. When they arrived at the palace, the 12th uncle and the 3rd brother were there. Even the 2nd brother, Wang Daoxing, was there. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Second brother, when did you form your gold core? Why didn't you tell me?" Wang Daoxing smiled and said, "With sufficient Tier 4 magic artifacts, I was unscathed after transcending 9 golden core heavenly tribulations. There's no need to disturb your seclusion for such a small matter. After the tribulation, nephew Mingchen will give me the title of Count and the position of Deputy Hall Master of the Guardian Hall." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Cultivate well. I also have some treasures that can assist in the nascent soul formation. When the family has a few more Yuanian cultivators, I can leave Beiyuan at ease and search for opportunities to break through to the soul formation realm." Then he asked Wang Mingchen, "It's a little too hasty for you to try to form your gold core now. Do you want to accumulate for a few more years?" Wang Mingchen replied, "Father, I have already completed my cultivation technique conversion 3 years ago. With the help of the Red Luan's Nirvana fire, I only used half a year to comprehend the fire element laws. I extracted the spiritual energy in the Red Luan's Nirvana fire and used a secret technique to nurture the vermilion bird phenomenon. Since a year ago, my Dao-seeking cultivation has been unable to advance, and the vermilion bird phenomenon has been unable to continue strengthening. I feel that I have accumulated enough. If I continue to delay, I will only let my thoughts run wild and disturb my state of mind. To have accumulated to the point where he could not advance, his foundation was considered not bad. Back then, in order to avoid being suppressed by the Netherworld sect, he did not accumulate to such an extent. Wang Daoyuan took out a storage bag. Since your cultivation can't advance, it's time to form your gold core. I can't help you much. Inside are Dharma artifacts to resist the heavenly tribulation and some grade 4 healing pills. As for the place to transcend the tribulation, it will be at the foot of the heavenly/mountain range's main mountain range. Wang Mingchen took the storage bag. Thank you, Father. Wang Daoyuan said to the 12th uncle and the others, I will protect Mingchen. It will take about half a year. During this time, I will leave the Yen kingdom to you guys. Wang Shi smiled and said, Don't worry. It has been peaceful all these years, and there are fewer official matters. If there is really something that can't be resolved, I will send you a message. Wang Daoyuan brought Wang Mingchen and flew towards the east. Near the main vein of the heavenly/mountain range, the concentration of spirit chi was very close to middle grade 5. There was no need to worry about spirit chi if he formed his gold core here. Wang Mingchen found a flat piece of land and sat cross-legged. He began to circulate his cultivation technique, and the surrounding spirit chi surged towards him. Soon, a spirit chi vortex with a diameter of more than 10 feet appeared. The concentration of spirit chi here was high and could easily satisfy the needs of cultivators to form their gold core. It was not easy for spirit chi vortexes to appear. It was already very difficult for this spirit chi vortex to be 10 feet in diameter. He also had a 9.7-inch heaven spirit root. Among cultivators with heaven spirit roots, he was as rare as a phoenix's feather. With such talent, as long as there were no major problems, there was almost no possibility of him failing to form his gold core. Wang Daoyuan was not worried. He found a place nearby and waited for Wang Mingchen to form his gold core. Half a year passed quickly. The spirit chi vortex above Wang Mingchen's head expanded rapidly and soon grew to a diameter of more than 200 feet. Suddenly, a white jade ball appeared out of thin air. This ball had a diameter of 8.7 inches. There were many cultivators who had formed their gold core in Xiuxian, but it was extremely rare for a gold core to exceed 8.7 inches. For more than 10,000 years, an 8.7-inch gold core was second only to Wang Daoyuan's. When the gold core landed on Wang Mingchen's body, his spirit chi fluctuations also increased rapidly. Soon, it surpassed the average early-stage golden core cultivator. At this moment, a gray cloud appeared in the sky. The cloud layer continued to expand and eventually reached 100 miles in size. It was rare for a gold core heavenly tribulation cloud to reach 100 miles. For more than 10,000 years, the only person who could reach this level was Wang Daoyuan. With the recovery of spirit chi, it was even easier to reach this level. Overall, Wang Mingchen's talent was slightly inferior to Wang Daoyuan's. However, the power of the heavenly tribulation would not be too bad. Soon, white heavenly lightning fell from the clouds. Wang Mingchen did not want to waste his spirit chi on the first 9 heavenly tribulations, so he directly took out a magic artifact to resist. An hour later, all 9 heavenly tribulations fell. Wang Mingchen was unscathed, but 5 level 4 magic artifacts were destroyed. The tribulation cloud in the sky began to surge violently. 15 minutes later, countless crimson flames fell from the sky. The magic artifact soft armor on Wang Mingchen's body was instantly burned to ashes. That soft armor was a level 4 low-grade magic artifact made by Lei Yanjinren. Seeing the flames, Wang Daoyuan was both happy and worried. The stronger the minor divine ability tribulation, the more powerful the minor divine ability awakened. This divine ability tribulation was already so powerful at the beginning, so the minor divine ability was naturally not ordinary. The possibility of awakening the Nanmingli fire was still very high. However, it was not easy to pass such a powerful heavenly tribulation. Wang Mingchen did not wait. Wrapped in red spirit chi, He turned into a vermilion bird and shuttled back and forth in the flames of the heavenly tribulation. Soon, a large sea of fire followed behind the vermilion bird. These flames were seized from the heavenly tribulation. After controlling these flames, the aura of the vermilion bird phantom increased significantly. The two seas of fire were entangled for 15 minutes, but the sea of fire did not gain the upper hand. At this moment, a loud phoenix cry came from the tribulation cloud. A vermilion bird swooped down from the tribulation cloud at an extremely fast speed. Wang Mingchen was directly pressed to the ground by the tribulation vermilion bird, and the vermilion bird phantom on his body dissipated instantly. Chapter 880. Wang Daoyuan felt a chill run down his spine when he saw how powerful the minor mystical ability tribulation was. It had only been 15 minutes, and the vermilion bird had already beaten Wang Mingchen to the point where he couldn't even fight back. Under normal circumstances, the minor mystical ability tribulation would last for at least an hour, and there would still be 15 minutes left. Under such circumstances, it would be difficult for Wang Mingchen to hold on for another 15 minutes. Wang Daoyuan was a little anxious, but he couldn't interfere with the heavenly tribulation. Otherwise, he would really be harming Wang Mingchen. At this moment, Wang Mingchen opened his mouth and let out an angry roar. However, this roar didn't sound like a human's voice. Instead, it sounded more like a phoenix's cry. Then, a crimson flame surged out of his body. It was exactly the same as the heavenly tribulation flame. The heavenly tribulation flame didn't target outsiders, so Wang Daoyuan couldn't really feel its power. However, when Wang Mingchen's flame appeared, the surrounding rocks and ground began to melt. Only the legendary Grand Sun Primordial Fire and Nanming Primordial Fire could have such power. These two types of spirit fire were both known to be able to burn everything in the world, but the way they burned everything was different. The true Sun Flame's power relied on its blazing yang energy. The Nanming Li fire relied on its violent fire spirit power to destroy everything. Wang Mingchen had the vermilion bird avatar and a high concentration of the vermilion bird bloodline. This flame was definitely the Nanming Li fire. Once the Nanming Li fire appeared, it began to burn fiercely. Soon, Wang Mingchen's entire body was enveloped by the Nanming Li fire, protecting him from the heavenly tribulation flame. Under his control, the Nanming Li fire began to fight back and compete with the heavenly tribulation flame for spirit qi. At first, the vermilion bird pressed Wang Mingchen to the ground and suppressed him. After tossing and turning for a quarter of an hour, he gradually could not suppress it any longer. The vermilion bird's attack couldn't break through the Nanming Li fire. Wang Mingchen also took this opportunity to force the vermilion bird back and use his escape technique to escape from its control. Tribulation transcendence was a waste of time. The minor mystical ability tribulation only lasted for about an hour. Now that there were only 15 minutes left, he would win if he could endure it. The tribulation clouds in the sky began to surge again, and more heavenly tribulation power descended to kill Wang Mingchen's head. With the heavenly tribulation power, the vermilion bird's power. Wang Mingchen's movement technique was quite extraordinary, and the heavenly tribulation vermilion bird was unable to catch up to him. Soon, boundless crimson flames descended from the tribulation clouds, turning the surrounding area into a sea of fire. Wang Mingchen activated the Nanming Primordial Fire with all his might to fight against the heavenly tribulation flames, but he was still at a disadvantage. In the sea of fire, his speed was severely affected. The heavenly tribulation vermilion bird quickly flew over and enveloped him with its wings. Everywhere was fiery red, and Wang Daoyuan could not see the situation inside clearly. He wanted to save Wang Mingchen, but he didn't dare to. Once he interfered with the heavenly tribulation, the next thing he would have to endure was the heavenly punishment. Both father and son would have to die here. Although his heart was burning with anxiety, he still had to wait. A quarter of an hour passed by quickly, and the oppressive might beneath the tribulation clouds disappeared. The tribulation clouds began to turn golden in color. This meant that he had successfully transcended the tribulation, but the scarlet flames on Wang Mingchen's body were still burning fiercely. Wang Daoyuan immediately released Yinglong to absorb the flames, in case Wang Mingxian couldn't hold on. Soon, the heavenly tribulation flames were completely absorbed, and Wang Mingxian's vitality was extremely weak. He quickly took out the Azure Dragon Pearl and used the Azure Dragon Reversal to save Wang Mingxian. The effect of the Azure Dragon Reversal was still strong. Wang Mingxian's vitality quickly stabilized and showed signs of continuing to strengthen. Wang Daoyuan heaved a sigh of relief. At least his son's life was saved. When the gifts of heaven and earth descended, all injuries could be healed. A quarter of an hour later, the tribulation clouds turned completely golden. Petals scattered from the golden clouds, and these petals gathered on Wang Mingxian's body. The phenomenon of heavenly flowers falling appeared again. The auspicious clouds in the sky were still very thick. This gifts of heaven and earth would most likely last for a long time. Just a quarter of an hour later, Wang Mingxian woke up. "Father, my minor theurgy is the Nanming primordial fire. I succeeded." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "I saw it before. It's just that the minor theurgy tribulation is too dangerous. Fortunately, you're safe and sound. My injuries are now completely healed. There are enough gifts of heaven and earth. I can't absorb them all by myself. You should absorb some too. Looking at the auspicious clouds, the gifts of heaven and earth should last for a long time. Inform the other clansmen and let them absorb some too." Wang Daoyuan shook his head. "I don't need these anymore. I'll leave them for the other clansmen." With that said, he took out a communication jade talisman and sent a message to the 12th uncle, asking him to bring some clansmen over. Especially little uncle, Zhao Liang, and 8th sister. It was still quite difficult for them to form their course. Absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth could increase their body's potential, and their future path would be easier. This place was less than 5,000 kilometers away from Clearglass City and less than 5,000 kilometers from Jade Spring Peak. With a 5th-grade flying ship, it would only take an hour. Back then, his gifts of heaven and earth lasted for more than 2 hours. There was still a lot of time left. An hour later, a 5th-grade flying ship flew over from the northwest. Some young children came down from the flying ship. Finally, it was little uncle and the other two. Little uncle was still a little embarrassed. "We're going to bask in the glory of the younger generation." Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "It's not about basking in the glory. It's all for the future of the clan." Everyone walked under the auspicious clouds and absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth. Wang Daoyuan scanned with his divine sense and found that a handsome young man was absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth at an extremely fast speed. Upon closer inspection, he found that this young man was Wang Delin. He was only 15 years old now, and his cultivation was already at the peak of qi refinement. With a heavenly spiritual root and a spiritual body, his cultivation speed was a little scary. It seemed that the third brother also wanted him to settle down and strengthen his foundation. After all, foundation establishment was related to qi and blood. It was better to wait until he reached adulthood. If he was too hasty, it would affect his future. Not long after, a tiger flew over from the west. It was Yun. He was carrying 3 people on his back. One of them was a strong man in a black leather robe. It was Dahe. The other was a thin and tall young man in a black scale-patterned robe. It was Wang Minglong. There was also a guy in an aqua-blue scale-patterned robe. He looked quite similar to Wang Minglong, but Wang Daoyuan had never seen him before. Yun Yi flew directly under the auspicious clouds before landing, greedily absorbing the gifts of heaven and earth. Wang Daoyuan asked the blue-robed young man, "Are you the Arowana of the 12th uncle? When did you transform?" The blue-robed young man cupped his hands and said, "In response to your question, I woke up 3 years ago. You were in seclusion at that time. Master was afraid of disturbing you, so he took me to the serene mountain to transcend the tribulation. After I succeeded in transcending the tribulation, I also transformed. Master named me Wang Xianlong. After transforming, I, Minglong, and Yun Yi suppressed the demonic beasts at the Baichuan Lake." Wang Xianlong seemed to be more obedient, unlike Wang Minglong, whose eyes never stopped rolling. One look and one could tell that he was not someone easy to deal with. Wang Daoyuan nodded and didn't say anything else. Soon, another white cloud floated over from the north. When it got closer, a golden ape jumped down from the white cloud. It was the thunder ape. The gifts of heaven and earth had a fatal attraction to spirit beasts. After another hour, the gifts of heaven and earth slowly ended. Uncle Wang Shouja led everyone back. After everyone left, Wang Mingchen took out a crimson flame. "Father, I used the gifts of heaven and earth to condense the Nanming Li fire." This scene made Wang Daoyuan's eyelids twitch. It took a lot of effort to condense the spiritual fire for Zhou Luan. Now, his son could condense the spiritual fire so quickly. The flame in front of him emitted a terrifying heat. After the surrounding plants absorbed the gifts of heaven and earth, they had almost recovered, but now they quickly withered. Wang Daoyuan probed with his divine sense, and the power of his divine sense quickly weakened. The fourth-level inferior-grade spiritual fire could actually burn the divine sense of a late-stage Yuanian cultivator. The Nanming Li fire's title of burning everything in the world was not nonsense. Chapter 881. The entire Nanming primordial fire looked simple and unadorned. It was just a simple crimson flame burning quietly. It was not like the crimson Luan Nirvana fire, which looked like a crimson Luan divine bird. The only extraordinary thing was that there was a faint vermilion bird-light figure dancing in the flame. Awakening the Nanming primordial fire was something that even half-divine beasts with the vermilion bird bloodline found difficult to do. For Wang Mingchen to be able to awaken the Nanming primordial fire, there was no need to talk about the concentration of the vermilion bird bloodline. Previously, his hair was all burned off by the heavenly tribulation. Now, the new hair stubble was all fiery red. If not for the human bloodline, it would not be difficult to cultivate into a real divine vermilion bird in the future. Demonic beasts had the bloodline of divine beasts. They could continuously increase the concentration of their bloodline through the divine beasts' inherited cultivation methods and finally become divine beasts. The human bloodline was very special. Even if there was a higher concentration of divine beast bloodline, it was almost impossible to become a divine beast. Unless the human bloodline was so little that it could be ignored, it could truly become a divine beast. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly withdrew his divine sense. "Quickly put it away. This thing's power is really too great. Also, don't easily reveal it in front of others in the future, lest someone covets it." Wang Mingchen nodded and said, "I understand. Imperial Father, I want to give this spiritual fire to you as a pseudo-spiritual fire. Although the Nanming primordial fire is known for its power, it can also perform the Nirvana secret technique. This crimson Luan Nirvana fire will be returned to Imperial Mother and integrated into the Mother fire. It can also increase Imperial Mother's strength." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand repeatedly. "Absolutely not. After you form your nascent soul, you will discover that there is a special energy in this spiritual fire. This energy is related to the spiritual fire's potential. If the spiritual fire is separated from the fire, there will be a lot of energy loss and it will affect the spiritual fire's potential." Wang Mingchen said with a smile, "Master also mentioned this special energy to me. It's just that this Nanming primordial fire is condensed from my vermilion bird bloodline and laws. It is different from the spiritual fire that Imperial Father obtained from the outside world. As long as my bloodline and laws are still there, the special energy lost can be replenished. The special energy lost by separating the pseudo-spiritual fire is very little. I can make up for it in a few years. With the Nanming primordial fire, you can also increase your strength." After thinking for a long time, Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Since that's the case, we'll do as you say." After saying that, he cast a secret technique to separate the fire seed. The Vermilion Bird Hall in the Valley of Beasts also had a similar secret technique, and it was even more advanced than the secret technique of the 100 Spirits Monarch. Wang Daoyuan took out a sesame-sized fire seed from the Nanming Ignis. Wang Mingchen quickly used the rootless fire of the Nanming Ignis to envelop the fire seed. In the past, to condense the pseudo-spiritual fire, one would need to separate a fire seed the size of a mung bean. After the fire seed was separated, a lot of it would be lost. In the end, it would only be the size of a sesame seed. Now, with the new secret technique, the loss of the fire seed could be reduced to a negligible level. Wang Daoyuan took the pseudo-spirit fire and summoned the Yinglong phenomenon. Yinglong had absorbed quite a lot of heavenly tribulation flames previously. Those flames should also be the Nanming primordial fire. Now, he spat out all of these flames and merged them into the pseudo-spiritual fire. The Nanming primordial fire was formed by the power of the heavenly tribulation. It was very effective in cultivating the fire seed. Soon, the fire seed stabilized. Wang Daoyuan asked Yinglong to swallow the pseudo-spiritual fire. After all, Yinglong also had the vermilion bird phenomenon in his body, so it was very suitable for cultivating the Nanming primordial fire. After that, Wang Daoyuan glanced at Wang Minglong and Yun Yi. Did you two do anything bad in the past few years in the Baichuan Lake? The two guys shook their heads like rattles, indicating that they did not do anything bad. Dahe and Wang Xianlong held back their laughter, but they did not tell on them. How are the demonic beasts in the Baichuan Lake? Wang Minglong breathed a sigh of relief and quickly showed off his achievements. Master, don't worry. When those demonic beasts saw me and Xianlong, it was as if they saw living ancestors. They did not dare to resist at all. Some disobedient ones were also roasted by us. Now, there is no demonic beast in the Baichuan Lake that dares to disturb our people. Wang Daoyuan nodded. You did a good job. Don't ruin the Baichuan Lake's business in the future. After that, he took out some inky jade lotus seeds and demon soul grass and gave them to them. The thunder ape naturally did not want these things. Wang Daoyuan gave him 2 jars of 100-fruit wine. Yun Yi enlarged her body and flew to the Baichuan Lake with all the spirit beasts on her back. Even the thunder ape went to the Baichuan Lake. There was not even a single demonic beast in the Fallen Dragon Ridge, which made him, a battle maniac, very bored. Wang Daoyuan returned to Qingli City with Wang Mingchen. The father and son did not stay in Qingli City for long. After handing over some things, they took a flying boat and flew to the Wanchuan River. Their destination was the Wanchuan Island. Wang Mingchen had awakened the Nanming primordial fire and also condensed the spiritual fire. Of course, he was going to succeed the position of the sect master of the Valley of Beasts and get the property of the Valley of Beasts. A day later, the flying boat arrived at the mountain gate of the Valley of Beasts. Wang Mingchen released the Nanming primordial fire. In less than 3 breaths, 8 figures flew out of the array. They looked at the Nanming primordial fire with excited expressions. The vermilion bird hall master wanted to touch the Nanming primordial fire, but before he could get close, his hand emitted black smoke. He retracted his hand. Not only was he not afraid, he laughed wildly. It is indeed the Nanming primordial fire. The heavens have eyes. My Valley of Beasts finally has a sect master. The other 7 people also laughed. The Azure Dragon Hall Master stroked his beard and said, even when the Valley of Beasts was at its peak, the disciple who awakened the Nanming primordial fire was also a candidate for the sect master. Now that the sect has withered, you are the only disciple qualified to inherit the position of sect master. There is only one successor and no current sect master. According to the sect rules, you can inherit the position of sect master now. Now, follow us to the ancestral hall and inherit the position of sect master in front of the ancestors. After saying that, an elder ran into the ancestral hall and closed the array. The cauldron in front of the memorial tablet also lit up with incense. The elders brought Wang Mingchen into the ancestral hall. The Azure Dragon Hall Master and the Vermilion Bird Hall Master knelt in front of the memorial tablet. The other hall masters knelt on both sides. Wang Mingchen knelt behind the Azure Dragon Hall Master and the Vermilion Bird Hall Master. The Azure Dragon Hall Master had the highest status. He was the one who presided over the sect master succession ceremony. As Wang Mingchen's master, the Vermilion Bird Hall Master's status was naturally higher. The Azure Dragon Hall Master took out a piece of silk and read loudly, "The 120th Hall Master of the Valley of Beasts, Long Yunting, reports to the sect masters. The 120th sect master of the Valley of Beasts, Lord Golden Rock, led the disciples of the sect to kill a level 7 evil dragon. The sect was also besieged by the demons and suffered heavy losses. Its incense was almost extinguished. The sect has been without a sect master for more than 50,000 years. Fortunately, Zhou Tianping, a disciple of Vermilion Bird Hall and Lord Golden Rock's direct disciple, escaped and continued the sect's incense. Today, Wang Mingchen, a disciple of the Vermilion Bird Hall master and the 99th descendant of Zhou Tianping, has awakened the minor Nanming Li fire. According to the sect rules, he will inherit the position of sect master today and become the 121st sect master of the Valley of Beasts. I hope the sect masters will accept him. With that, he placed the silk into the cauldron and burned it. Wang Mingchen and the elders knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times in front of the memorial tablet. Then the Azure Dragon Hall master smiled and said, "I have already reported to the sect masters. Mingchen is already the sect master of the Valley of Beasts. Elders, please bring the sect master's keepsake." The 6 elders left the ancestral hall and returned shortly after. Each elder held a jade tray in their hands, which was covered with a bright yellow silk cloth. Just by looking at the silk and the tray, one could tell that they were not ordinary items. The Azure Dragon Hall master cupped his hands towards the memorial tablet and said, "The previous sect master, the Great Elder, and the Grand Elders all died in battle 50,000 years ago. Disciple Long Yunting passed the position of sect master to Wang Mingchen and violated the sect rules. I hope the sect masters will forgive me." With that, he uncovered the bright yellow silk on the first tray. On it was a 9-inch square purple gold seal. The seal was of the 5 elements divine beast. The 4 sides of the seal were engraved with the carvings of many divine beasts and ancient beasts. This is the 10,000 Beasts seal. It is the seal of the previous sect masters. The 121st sect master of the Valley of Beasts, Wang Mingchen, accepts the seal. The sect has declined to this extent. I hope you can restore the prestige of the Valley of Beasts. Wang Mingchen knelt down and accepted the 10,000 Beasts seal. I will take on the responsibility of the sect master and revitalize the Valley of Beasts. Chapter 882. The seal was a symbol of authority. The person who obtained the seal of 10,000 beasts would be the official sect leader. Wang Mingchen took the seal of 10,000 beasts. The leader of the Blue Dragon Division undid the bright yellow satin on the second tray. It was a 1-foot-thick jade booklet. It was made of white jade and strung together with golden threads. The leader of the Blue Dragon Division carefully held up the jade booklet. This is the name list of the disciples of the Valley of Beasts. Only the disciples on this list are the direct disciples of the Valley of Beasts. Wang Mingchen respectfully took the jade booklet and put it away. On the third tray was a folded piece of beast skin. It was not complete, but was made of many pieces of beast skin joined together. The beast skin was sewn together with beast tendons. This is the map of the various divisions, industries, and secret realms under the name of the Valley of Beasts. This map is relatively simple and only shows the approximate location. Then he uncovered the satin on the 4th tray. There were more than 10 golden books on it. This is the detailed information of the various industries of the sect. It corresponds to the location on the map. On the 5th tray, there were 3 tokens. The leader of the Blue Dragon Division held the purple gold jade token with both hands. This is the identity token of the sect leader of the Valley of Beasts. It was personally made by the first ancestor, the supreme god of beasts. One side of the token was engraved with the patterns of the 5 elements. On the other side, the words, "Sect Leader of the Valley of Beasts," were written in large ancient characters. Then he took out a white jade token. This is the token for the core inheritance of the Valley of Beasts and the main treasury. There is only 1 token in the entire Valley of Beasts. Wang Mingchen took the 2 tokens and put them away. There was only 1 black token left. It was made of some unknown metal. This last token is the token to open the gate of the Valley of Beasts. Back then, the previous sect leader and the various grand elders relied on the gate to kill the 7th rank evil dragon. You can't stay on the island of beasts for too long. This last token will be given to you later. Wang Mingchen nodded. The foundation of the sect is still the most important. The last token will be temporarily kept by the leader of the Blue Dragon Division. This is to prevent the elders from being injured when the demonic beasts attack. The thing on the last tray was not small. The bright yellow satin was propped up nearly a foot high. However, this satin was quite extraordinary. Even if he used his divine sense to examine it, he still couldn't see what was inside. Even though Wang Daoyuan was Wang Mingchen's father, he wasn't from the Valley of Beasts. He couldn't be too rash. After the Azure Dragon Hall Master handed the token to Wang Mingchen, he lifted the satin on the sixth tray. Below them was a pagoda that was about a foot tall. It was completely white in color. This pagoda had 8 sides and a total of 18 floors. At the intersection of the 2 floors of the tower, there was an exquisite cornice, and the tower was engraved with various carvings of mythical beasts. The Azure Dragon Hall Master held up the pagoda. This pagoda is called the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda. Back then, it was a peak 7th rank magic tool. Now, it's only a low-grade 5th rank magic tool. However, if he could unleash its full power, those below the divine transformation realm would not be able to break through his defense. Since the 2nd generation ancestor, the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda had been used as the sect master's token. Every floor of the pagoda is a secret realm. Back then, these secret realms were hundreds of miles in radius. Unfortunately, the level has dropped. I'm afraid the secret realms inside are less than 10 miles in radius. If it weren't for the good foundation of the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda, the secret realms inside would have collapsed. Upon hearing this, Wang Daoyuan asked in surprise, "A magic tool with a small secret realm inside? Legend has it that only immortals can forge it." The Azure Dragon Hall Master smiled. The legend is true. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda was forged by the 1st generation ancestor and an Earth Immortal who was famous for refining magic tools. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda has always been used as a magic tool to suppress demonic beasts. Once a demonic beast causes trouble, the sect master will take the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda out to suppress the demonic beast. If a spirit beast in the sect makes a mistake, it will also be locked up in the pagoda to be punished. Every secret realm is full of danger. The higher the floor of the pagoda, the more dangerous it is inside. A demon at the peak of the Mahayana realm was once locked up in the top floor. In the end, he was tortured to death. Those punished spirit beasts also called the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda the 18 levels of hell. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda can extract the spirit power and blood essence of the demonic beasts locked up in the pagoda to nourish oneself and fight against enemies. When the evil dragon attacked the 10,000 Beasts Island, the sect master extracted all the spirit power and blood essence of all the demonic beasts and spirit beasts in the pagoda. In that battle, the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda was also seriously damaged. After the sect master died, the spirit of the pagoda fell into a deep sleep. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda was much stronger than the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda. But that space was equivalent to a large universe ring. It could hold living things and even living people could enter it. But after all, it was not a secret realm. The laws were not complete, so people and demonic beasts could not cultivate in it. Unfortunately, so many secret realms were used to punish demonic beasts and spirit beasts. But then again, these 18 small secret realms were not valuable to the Valley of Beasts. Even before the invasion of the demon tribe, the Valley of Beasts was a big force and controlled many big secret realms. These 18 small secret realms might not be comparable to a big secret realm. If the Soul Pearl space did not have the support of time, its value would not be much. Normal secret realms did not have this ability. Wang Mingchen took the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda and held it in his left hand. The sect master's keepsakes were all given to Wang Mingchen. The sect master succession ceremony was considered complete. The 8 elders bowed and said in unison, "Greetings, sect master." Wang Mingchen became Duke Qingli in his 40s and had been a monarch for over 100 years. Naturally, he could handle this kind of situation calmly. He raised his right hand. "Elders, please rise." Seeing his magnanimity, the 8 elders revealed gratified smiles on their faces. The Blue Dragon Division leader hurriedly said, "Sect Master, please recognize the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda as soon as possible. With the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda, a 5th-rank demonic beast will not be able to hurt you. Only then can us old fellows be at ease. However, the spirit of the pagoda has always had a bad temper. Your cultivation is not high, so he might not take a liking to you. Daoyuan, please use Yinglong to intimidate him." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "It's fine. I can tolerate his bad temper. If he dares to attack his master, I'll let Yinglong swallow him." The 8 elders' faces turned cold, but they did not dare to say anything. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda's method of recognizing its master was not strange. Wang Mingchen dripped a drop of blood essence on the pagoda and then began to condense his divine sense imprint. It took a full day for the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda to recognize him as its master. After successfully recognizing him as its master, the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda flickered with a faint jade-white light. At the same time, there were obvious fluctuations of spiritual power. It was no longer like before without a single magic tool. The Blue Dragon Division leader glanced at the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda and said, "Looking at the pagoda, the spirit of the pagoda should still be asleep. This 10,000 Spirits Pagoda is a non-elemental magic tool. Daoyuan, I'll have to trouble you to awaken the spirit of the pagoda." Wang Daoyuan had experience in this task. He had helped awaken the spirit of the yin-yang compass before. Is there a special method to awaken the spirit of the pagoda? You just need to inject the spirit qi of the 5 elements into the pagoda. Wang Daoyuan nodded and took the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda. At the same time, he mobilized the spirit qi of the 5 elements and injected it into the pagoda. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda was indeed made by an earth immortal. It was simply a bottomless pit. Wang Daoyuan had to release the Gui water death flame to burn the clouds outside to provide him with spiritual power. After more than 10 days, the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda suddenly erupted with an amazing momentum. The spirit of the pagoda was about to awaken. Wang Daoyuan directly opened the divine sense field and controlled the spirit qi within a radius of 600 miles. Once the spirit of the pagoda wanted to make trouble, it would be killed at any time. The momentum of the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda slowly weakened. A handsome young man in a jade-white robe with hair the color of mutton fat jade appeared. This guy looked gentle and elegant, but his nature was exposed as soon as he opened his mouth. "Who dares to disturb my sleep? The spirit qi here is so thin. Why do you want me to wake up?" After that, he glanced at Wang Mingchen and said, "I feel that someone has recognized the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda as its master. It's a brat who has just entered the Gold Core realm. Even if he has the Nanming primordial fire, he shouldn't inherit the position of sect master at this time." Chapter 883. The head of the Blue Dragon Division explained, "Patriarch Myriad Spirits, after you were injured." Before he could finish, the artifact spirit waved his hand and interrupted him. "Did I say you could speak? You're so unruly." He was about to scold again, but Wang Daoyuan scolded him angrily, "Either shut up and listen to us, or you have to die today. Isn't it just an artifact spirit? We can just raise a new one after killing it." The artifact spirit was one with the magic weapon. As long as the magic weapon was not destroyed, the artifact spirit would not die. If Yinglong dealt with this guy, he might really be able to take him down. After all, when Linglong saw Yinglong, she was scared out of her wits. As for whether it could work, Wang Daoyuan was not sure. As soon as this guy came out, he scolded this and that. Now he was being scolded and threatened by Wang Daoyuan. How could he bear it? He wanted to directly control the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda to attack Wang Daoyuan. Unfortunately, the pagoda was still in Wang Daoyuan's hand. He activated it with all his strength, and the entire 10,000 Spirits Pagoda trembled violently. After Wang Daoyuan improved his cultivation method, his spiritual power could be transformed into qi and blood, and his physical strength were not inferior to that of a demon of the same level. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda struggled for a long time, but it still could not get out of Wang Daoyuan's control. According to the head of the Blue Dragon Division, the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda's strongest means were suppression and defense. The pagoda could not move, so it could not use any powerful means. The artifact spirit's face changed drastically. What a powerful boy! Then he left the pagoda and rushed toward Wang Daoyuan. The body of the pagoda was held in his hand, and it was only 2 feet away from his head. He should have no chance of surviving such a close attack. However, Wang Daoyuan had been prepared. Yinglong was already waiting outside his sea of consciousness. As soon as the artifact spirit left the pagoda, Yinglong flew out and entangled him. The device spirit struggled violently, trying to return to the all-spirits pagoda. Unfortunately, it could not move at all. Yinglong was just about to open his mouth and swallow it when the elders hurriedly pleaded, "Please have mercy." This weapon spirit was nurtured by the first ancestor. It can be said that he is also the ancestor of the Valley of Beasts. Patriarch Myriad Spirits is just a little bad-tempered, but his character is still pretty good. Yinglong was once one of the strongest experts in the Qianyuan realm. His means were something that even Earth immortals could not compare to. Whether or not he could deal with the artifact spirit, Elder Ji wasn't sure either. Wang Daoyuan snorted coldly, "If you can speak properly, I'll spare your life. No matter how arrogant you are, I still want to see if Yinglong can kill the artifact spirit." Hearing this, the artifact spirit frowned. "Yinglong? The legendary dragon of destiny? No wonder I felt like my life was in danger. It was because of this guy. This Yinglong is also very strange. He is not a weapon spirit, nor is he a magic spell. Who is this junior of yours? How can he control the winged dragon?" Hearing what he said, Yinglong should really be able to kill the artifact spirit. There was also a bad-tempered artifact spirit in the space of the spiritual pearl. Wang Daoyuan wanted to make it recognize him as its master, but he had not succeeded. "I didn't expect you to speak properly. Your current master is my biological son. I am the registered disciple of the current branch master of the treasure tripod branch of the Divine Weapon Pavilion." The artifact spirit had a strange look on his face. He asked the head of the Tsang Dragon Division, "What's going on? Our Valley of Beasts is being bullied by the juniors of the Divine Weapon Pavilion? What's wrong with you guys? Have you become neither human nor ghost?" The head of the Tsang Dragon Division cupped his hands and said, "Patriarch Myriad Spirits, the former sect master used the sect's backup plan. After killing the evil dragon, he passed away with several grand elders. The demonic beasts brought by the evil dragon turned the Valley of Beasts into ruins. In order to resist the demonic beasts, we refined ourselves into living corpses and turned our souls into ghost cultivators. We hid them in artifacts made of soul crystals. After many years of fierce fighting, the demonic beasts were finally wiped out. Almost all the disciples in the sect were killed. Only the grand disciple of the former sect master, Zhao Tunping, escaped and established the Zhou state west of the Sky Beheading Mountain Range. Among the disciples of the sect, there are no longer any living people other than the descendants of Zhou Tianpe. Now, more than 50,000 years have passed. The inheritance of the Valley of Beasts has been severed for more than 50,000 years. The new sect master is called Wang Mingqian. He is the 99th generation descendant of Zhou Tianping. He has also awakened the minor Nanming primordial fire. If he doesn't become the sect master, who will? It is already a great fortune for the Valley of Beasts to have such a genius as the sect master." Hearing this, Patriarch Myriad Spirits was silent. After a long time, he sighed and said, "The foundation of the Valley of Beasts has been reduced to such a state for more than 100,000 years. Under such circumstances, it is a great fortune to have a sect master who has awakened the minor Nanming primordial fire." Then what's going on with this Yinglong? That's one of the top experts in the primordial era. Why is it with him? The Azure Dragon Hall Master continued, "Dao Yuan originally had the 5 elements divine beast avatar. When he shattered his core and formed his nascent soul, his purple mansion avatar mutated and turned into Yinglong. Patriarch Myriad Spirits was shocked. The Purple Mansion avatar is related to the heavenly Dao. For it to turn into a dragon of destiny, this person's destiny has probably reached an extremely terrifying level. Could it be that he is the son of destiny? No, it has been more than 100,000 years since I was born. I have seen 2 generations of sons of destiny. There are more than 20 of them. Each of them is a giant among men. However, there has never been a son of destiny who has Yinglong's avatar. Junior, let go of Yinglong. I have some friendship with the yin-yang compass artifact spirit and have learned some methods to look at destiny. Let me see how good your destiny is. Wang Daoyuan also wanted to let this fellow suffer a little and kill his spirit. He did not want to disobey Wang Mingchen in the future and cause more trouble. He controlled Yinglong and sent Patriarch Myriad Spirits flying with his tail. Patriarch Myriad Spirits flew out more than 5 kilometers before coming to a stop. His eyes turned purple gold as he began to observe Wang Daoyuan's destiny. Suddenly, a purple gold lightning bolt struck down from the heavenly mountain and struck him. Patriarch Myriad Spirits was indeed a wily old fox who had lived for more than 200,000 years. He had long been prepared. He instantly turned into a stream of light and dodged the heavenly lightning. He hurriedly stopped his Dharma spell and said in shock, "What a powerful destiny. It's only the late stage of yuanying, but the auspicious clouds have already turned into a dragon of destiny. Only the destinies of mighty figures and earth immortals will have a dragon of destiny. When I pry into your destiny, I will be warned by the heavenly Dao. Your destiny is already not inferior to sword immortal Guiyuan." Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "It seems that you are stronger than the yin-yang compass artifact spirit." He did not see my destiny back then and only said that I have the bloodline of a mighty figure. The fellow had a proud expression. Although he is an old friend of yin-yang, his ability is far inferior to mine. He can't even see your bloodline. He is really weak. You are a descendant of Supremacy Purple Thunder. Supremacy Purple Thunder became a mighty figure 200,000 years ago. My first master, Supremacy Myriad Beasts, was good friends with Supremacy Purple Thunder. Among your relatives, do you have any lesser divine powers with a purple lightning attribute spirit fire? Supremacy Purple Thunder's divine power is the Purple Thunder Divine Flame. He relied on this spirit fire to make a name for himself. During the demonic chaos more than 70,000 years ago, he also played a significant role. With this, Wang Daoyuan finally knew where his master and brother's lesser divine powers came from. What he said should be correct. My brother and master have both awakened the lesser divine power of the Purple Thunder Divine Flame. Then there is no doubt that you are a descendant of Supremacy Purple Thunder. This fellow had a few wives and concubines in his early years and many descendants. Unfortunately, not many of them are of any use. As for which lineage you are a descendant of, I cannot be sure. Long Yunting, why don't you let this junior inherit the position of sect master? The Azure Dragon Hall master cupped his hands and said, "Ancestral master, our Valley of Beasts has not done him any favors. If we rashly pull him into the Valley of Beasts, we will be intercepting our destiny and might suffer a backlash from it. Legend has it that being close to a son of destiny can increase one's own destiny. If Wang Mingchen becomes sect master, he will be able to benefit from accompanying Dao Yuan in his conquest of the world. If he can win the war of destiny, our Valley of Beasts can be revitalized. We might even be stronger than before." Patriarch Myriad Spirits nodded. "You are very thoughtful. This is indeed the safest way. For the future of the sect, I will accept the position of sect master." With that, he bowed to Wang Mingchen. "Myriad Spirits greets the sect master. I am willing to listen to your orders from now on." Chapter 884. Patriarch Myriad Spirits was finally convinced and willing to listen to Wang Mingchen's orders. Wang Daoyuan also heaved a sigh of relief. With the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda's protection, he would not have to worry about any danger. Wang Mingchen hurriedly went over to help Patriarch Myriad Spirits up. "Patriarch, you don't have to bow. Since I've accepted the position of sect master of the Valley of Beasts, I'll naturally do my best to revitalize the Valley of Beasts. Since he was playing the good cop, Wang Daoyuan naturally played the bad cop. Mingchen is still the emperor of the Yan kingdom. There aren't many people here, so he can't stay here forever. After returning to the Yan kingdom, if you dare to disobey my orders and hurt my Wang family members, I'll kill you. Even if you hide in the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda and don't come out, I still have a way to destroy you. After learning of Wang Daoyuan's identity, Patriarch Myriad Spirits did not dare to be unyielding. Don't worry. Although I have a bad temper, I'm not stupid. With the Valley of Beasts in such a state, how would I dare to go against the Son of Providence? Only other Sons of Providence can be enemies with the Son of Providence. I'm still hoping to borrow your providence to revitalize the Valley of Beasts. Besides, by following the Son of Providence, the artifact spirit will also have a chance to improve. For both public and private reasons, I have to protect Mingchen well. With this, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. This was an old monster who had lived for more than 200,000 years. With his guidance, Wang Mingchen would not have any problems in cultivation. Moreover, he was once a peak 7th level magic weapon. If not for Yinglong's ability to deal with the artifact spirit, he would not have the confidence to defeat him. At most, they would be evenly matched. With his protection, Wang Mingchen would not be in any danger. That's good. Most of the Wang family's inheritance comes from the Valley of Beasts. If you can have the last laugh in the Battle of Providence, you will not be mistreated. However, what do you mean by improving the artifact spirit? Wang Daoyuan's question made Patriarch Myriad Spirits regain his confidence. Having an old man in the family is like having a treasure. Now you know the use of this old man, right? As the saying goes, all things have spirits, artifact spirits are not immutable. There was also a chance for him to grow a physical body and become an astral. Plants and other living things without intelligence, as well as metals and stones that didn't even have life, could also take a step forward and develop intelligence. Once their intelligence was strong enough, they would be able to transform into astrals. In fact, many of the strange beasts born in the primordial era were from the spirit race. For example, Yinglong could be seen as the spirit of ancestral Dragon Mountain. There was no clear boundary between the spirit race and the Yao race. Some of the spirit race could also reproduce. As a member of the spirit race, didn't Yinglong also give birth to many divine beasts? The mixed blood descendants of these divine beasts were also known as the demon race. If artifact spirits like us can gain physical bodies and become spirit race members, we can also give birth to descendants and create our own race. Beiyuan Xiuxian has fewer strange races. When you reach the south of heaven-ending abyss in the future, you'll be able to see all kinds of strange races. The ancestors of these races were all from the spirit race, which made them no different from the Yao race. There were also some spirit race members who couldn't reproduce and thus couldn't establish their own races. However, they could also become immortals through cultivation and ascend to the upper realm. It's just that after the primordial era ended, spirit chi underwent a huge change. It's still possible for things like metal, stone, grass, and wood to develop intelligence, but the possibility of becoming a true spirit race member is very small. Beiyuan has been going downhill since the formation of heaven-ending abyss more than 70,000 years ago. Now that spirit chi is only at level 5, the possibility of metal, stone, grass, and wood producing spirit plants is very small, not to mention other things. After chatting with the elders for a while, Wang Daoyuan left Myriad Beast Island with Wang Mingchen and returned to the Yan Kingdom. Although the access token to the Valley of Beasts treasury was in Wang Mingchen's hands, it wasn't too appropriate to rob someone's treasury right after getting it. In the future, he still had to count on the Valley of Beasts to help in the War of Providence. He naturally had to take away the seal and other items of the Valley of Beasts sect master. Along the way, Ancestor Myriad Spirit didn't stop either. Everywhere he went, he talked about the history of this place. It seemed that this guy wasn't just bad-tempered, he was also a chatterbox. Soon, the flying boat arrived near Qingli City. Ancestor Myriad Spirit nodded. The location of the capital isn't bad. This used to be the territory of the Green Willow Branch. Back then there was a market here. By the way, Is Twin Dragon Mount the source of this river, your territory? Twin Dragon Mount? The source of this Qingli River is Jade Spring Peak, the earliest territory of my Wang family. Even now, it's the core of the family. Ancestor Myriad Spirit continued. I learned some Qi observation methods from Yin Yang. This Jade Spring Peak is the intersection of the Heavenly/Mountain Range and Huyen Mountain. That's how Twin Dragon Mount got its name. It's right to call it Jade Spring Peak. There is indeed a spring on the mountain. Back then, this spring water was a peak level 7 spirit spring. A jade dragon once resided here, so it was named Jade Dragon Spring. The Jade Dragon Spring is full of dragon qi, and dragon species often appear. By the way, does your Wang family have dragon species? Wang Mingchen replied, now, the Wang family has 2 level 4 dragonfish. One is called Wang Minglong, and the other is Wang Xianlong. It's good to have dragon species. This Jade Dragon Spring is a place to raise dragons. If a dragon is planted in such a place, it might have a chance to transform into a true dragon in the future. When the flying boat landed in the palace, Wang Daoyuan said, Senior Myriad Spirit, this city is filled with people from the Yen Kingdom. Don't lose your temper. Their cultivation levels are low, so they can't withstand your temper. Patriarch Myriad Spirit smiled and said, don't worry. Since I've acknowledged him as my master, I'll naturally think for him. I won't make things difficult for Mingchen. Wang Daoyuan left Qingli City and returned to Jade Spring Peak. After returning to his cave abode, Yuanying immediately entered the space of the Spirit Pearl. If Yinglong could threaten Patriarch Myriad Spirit, he could naturally threaten the other artifact spirits as well. He had obtained a refining cauldron in the Ziwei Hall of the 7-star Mystic Realm. Back then, this refining cauldron was very close to peak level 6. However, there was a large amount of flames in the cauldron. Back then, Wang Daoyuan was attacked by the flames as soon as he approached it. In the end, he exposed the Spirit Pearl and took away the cauldron. After the cauldron entered the Spirit Pearl, it was still not well behaved. Wang Daoyuan placed it at the edge of the Spirit Pearl's space to isolate it from Spirit Qi. Later on, the cauldron fell into a deep slumber due to the lack of Spirit Qi. Wang Daoyuan also took out the sword embryo of the Essence Returning Sword. However, the artifact spirit still instinctively refused to acknowledge him as its master. Now that it knew that Yinglong could deal with artifact spirits, it was no longer up to it to acknowledge him as its master. Yuanying came to the edge of the Spirit Pearl space where the artifact refining cauldron was stored. Previously, he had set up an array formation to isolate Spirit Qi here. In order to reduce the loss of Spirit Qi, the cauldron's brilliance was restrained. It did not look like a Dharma artifact at all. In addition, there were no decorations on the cauldron. It was pitch black and looked even worse than the cooking utensils used by rich mortal families. The cauldron was a 3-legged, 2-eared round cauldron. It was more than 6 feet tall and had a diameter of more than 2 feet. Ordinary artifact refining cauldrons could be big or small. As the space was not sealed, it could not be considered a spatial Dharma artifact. As Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying approached, the cauldron spewed out some flames again. These flames were similar to ordinary earth fire. They were red and yellow in color. However, these flames were already very weak and could not be compared to before. Yuanying waved his hand and a black flame appeared out of thin air, enveloping the red and yellow flames. Soon, the red and yellow flames could not hold on any longer and extinguished on their own. At this moment, the Spirit Qi fluctuations from the cauldron were only at the level of a low-grade 6th level. After being isolated from Spirit Qi in the Spirit Pearl space for thousands of years, it was greatly affected. From the looks of it, the artifact spirit in the cauldron should have some consciousness. Wang Daoyuan began to persuade, I say, fellow in the cauldron, you've been stubborn with me for thousands of years. Do you still want to continue wasting time? I'll cut off all sources of Spirit Qi for the cauldron. After 10 or 20,000 years, the cauldron will drop to 4th level and you, the artifact spirit, will fall into a deep sleep. At that time, I'll recognize you as my master. Can you still resist? A moment later, an old voice came from the cauldron. 10 or 20,000 years. You're just a late-stage Yuanian cultivator. How can you live for so long? No, you're just a Yuanian cultivator. How can you live until now? Chapter 885. Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. The artifact spirit had finally spoken. If he wanted to subdue an artifact spirit, he wasn't afraid of a bad temper. He was only afraid that the artifact spirit would be taciturn and refuse to speak. If the artifact spirit didn't speak, he wouldn't have time to waste with it. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "You don't have to worry about how I've lived until now. I won't die even after 100,000 years. I'd like to see how long you can last. Do you want to acknowledge me as your master now or wait until you're at the 4th level?" The artifact spirit was silent for a long time before saying, "Kid, don't go too far. Although I lack spiritual power, I can still exert strength comparable to an early soul formation cultivator. It won't take much effort to kill a late Yuanian cultivator like you." Wang Daoyuan's Yuanian showed a disdainful expression. "Back then in the Ziwei Palace, you were close to the peak of the 6th level, and I was just at the beginning of the Yuaning. If I could deal with you back then, it won't be a problem now. If you have a soul formation cultivator controlling you, you can indeed kill me. But without a soul formation cultivator controlling you, you'd better save it. Do you really think I don't know anything? An artifact spirit without an owner can't exert all its strength. I can subdue you without using spiritual pearls." The artifact spirit seemed to be hurt by Wang Daoyuan's words and showed itself. An old man with white hair and a black robe appeared on the cauldron. "I was also a 7th level artifact back then. Even if I'm not your match, you can't do anything to me." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was amused. "I thought you were just a 6th level artifact. I didn't expect you to be a 7th level artifact. Then I've really hit the jackpot. The higher the level, the more excited I am." These words sounded a little strange. He took out the Guiyuan sword. "You're hard enough, but this Guiyuan sword isn't bad either. Let's see how long you can last without spiritual power replenishment." Guiyuan sword Immortal could even split open the ancestral dragon mountain. As his successor, can't I split open a broken cauldron? Then, he took out the Guiyuan sword and was about to attack the cauldron. The artifact spirit quickly said, "My master is the supreme divinity Xianxia. He's an old friend of Guiyuan sword Immortal for many years. In the War of Providence back then, the Shenlian school also supported sword Immortal Guiyuan. You are his successor, so we can be considered as family. Why do you have to fight and kill?" Wang Daoyuan snorted coldly. "Since we are family, why did you try to kill me in Ziwei Palace? You caused me to have no choice but to reveal my trump card, Spirit Pearl. You want me to let you off just because your master once supported sword Immortal Guiyuan? Either it recognizes me as its master, or we can slowly waste time." "It doesn't matter to me, it's just a crafting cauldron. Without you, it won't affect my cultivation. Now that you're not willing to acknowledge me as your master, when I make my move, you can just wait to be smashed into smithing materials. You're just a big iron pot. You really think you're something." This time, the artifact spirit was infuriated. No matter what, it was still the artifact of a supreme being. How could it tolerate being called a big iron pot? The artifact spirit left the cauldron and flew towards Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan had talked to it for so long just to provoke it to come out. As soon as the artifact spirit flew out, Yinglong flew out from between Yuanying's eyebrows and wrapped around the artifact spirit a few times. "Since you're not willing to acknowledge me as your master, there's no point in keeping you. Anyway, I can still use the crafting cauldron after killing you." The artifact spirit looked horrified. "What's the origin of this yellow dragon of yours? It seems that you're much less knowledgeable than the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda. You don't even know the Dragon of Destiny. I guess you don't have much ability, so I won't keep you." The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda? The legendary artifact of the Valley of Beasts? I've heard my master mention it before. The Dragon of Destiny, the ancestor of all dragons? The appearance of this yellow dragon is exactly the same as the legendary Dragon of Destiny. This guy knew some things, but he didn't think he knew as much as the ancestor of myriad spirits. What's your name? My body is the Xianxian cauldron. It's a divine artifact of the Xianxian of the Shenlian school. You can call me Xianxian. But later, my master's crafting level rose to the 8th rank, and I was only at the middle of the 7th rank. My master was only at the late stage of the Mahayana realm at that time, and it was impossible for him to raise me to the 8th rank in a short time. The gap between the 7th rank and the 8th rank artifact was still very big. It was very unlikely to refine an 8th rank artifact with a 7th rank crafting cauldron. He could only use the divine refining cauldron handed down from the Shenlian school to refine and put me in the crafting room to slowly raise me. My master went to the ancestral Dragon Mountain to resist the devil race and didn't take me with him. More than 10 years later, my master died, and I became an ownerless artifact. I stayed in the crafting room of the Ziwei Hall for tens of thousands of years, and finally fell into your hands. What was the result of the war between the human race and the devil race? Do you still need to ask? I'm a human. If I can jump around like this, the human race will naturally be fine, and the devil race will also be suppressed. That year, Beiyuan's sword Immortal exhausted all his strength and slashed out a shocking sword. Several Earth Immortal Realm devils were killed, Mount Zulong was cut in half, and the Ju Tian Abyss was created. North of the Ju Tian Abyss, the spirit chi decreased greatly. Isn't the spirit chi in the 7 stars secret realm also decreasing year by year? Speaking of which, are you willing to acknowledge me as your master, or are you waiting for Yinglong to swallow you? If it wasn't for the fact that you can help me refine artifacts, I wouldn't even bother to keep you. The Xianxian Cauldron's artifact spirit also felt a fatal threat and didn't dare to be stubborn anymore. My old life is in your hands, do I dare to resist? My master is no longer here anyway, acknowledging someone else as my master isn't considered betrayal. Wang Daoyuan breathed a sigh of relief. Although the Xianxian Cauldron was only tens of thousands of years old, it only had one master, the divine Xianxian. Its value was far less than the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda, or even the purple gold exquisite pagoda. But no matter how bad it was still a powerful artifact. The divine Xianxian had used it to refine artifacts, so at least he knew a lot about artifact refining. In that case, I'll let you acknowledge me as your master now. After you acknowledge me as your master, I'll let Yinglong release you. If you try to play any tricks, then just wait for your death. After saying that, he dripped a drop of blood essence on the cauldron and used his divine sense to explore the cauldron. When refining artifacts, there would be a special place to condense the divine sense imprint. After the divine sense imprint was formed, it would connect with the artifact inscriptions, making it easier to control the artifact. Although this Xianxian cauldron used to be of a very high grade, this hadn't changed. After Wang Daoyuan recognized the Xianxian cauldron as its master, he could explore its functions through the divine sense imprint. This Xianxian cauldron was made of metal materials of the 5 elements, so its attributes were naturally of the 5 elements. Most high-level artifact cauldrons had no attributes or were of the 5 elements. After all, there were many kinds of artifacts to be refined. An artifact cauldron of a single attribute might have negative effects when refining artifacts of other attributes. The Xianxian cauldron's main function was to refine artifacts. Its functions of controlling fire and nurturing artifacts were very complete. It was much more powerful than the artifact cauldron that Wang Daoyuan had casually refined. In addition to its function of refining artifacts, it also had some offensive and defensive abilities. Of course, it was mainly for defense. With the foundation of a 7th grade artifact, soul formation cultivators wouldn't be able to break its defense in a short time. Its offensive abilities were very weak. It was just that the cauldron was heavy and could smash people with it. However, this still made Wang Daoyuan very satisfied. At least the next time he went to the Qixing Si Xiuxin community, he wouldn't be completely defenseless against a soul formation cultivator. After the artifact recognized its master, even if the artifact spirit was up to no good, it wouldn't be able to exert much power against the master. On the contrary, the master would have a strong suppressive effect on the artifact spirit. Wang Daoyuan controlled Yinglong and let go of the artifact spirit. Do you know all the artifact refining techniques of the Xunlian school, including the puppet technique? The artifact spirit patted its chest and said, "As the artifact spirit of the Xianxia cauldron, as long as it has been refined in my body, I know the refining method. Besides, I've been with the old master for many years. I basically know all his artifact refining techniques. It's just that I'm not suitable for fights of magical powers. Master rarely takes me with him when he goes out. I know very little about the outside world. I can only remember some of the things that Master mentioned when he was talking to others." It had the experience of an 8th grade artifact refiner. Although it was only the experience of the Xianxian Supreme God before he became an 8th grade artifact refiner. But for Wang Daoyuan, a 5th grade artifact refiner, it was rare and valuable. Chapter 886. There were many techniques in the 100 arts of immortal cultivation that were difficult to write down in the inheritance. Without a master to teach, it would always be lacking if one had to rely on one's own comprehension. Take the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable's special technique for example. If it wasn't for the illusion created by the Thousand Puzzles Pagoda, it wouldn't have been possible. If it was only given a secret manual, it would be very difficult for others to learn. Although the Xianxian cauldron was only a magic tool, it had personally participated in the crafting of the Xianxian Divine Venerable. It would benefit him greatly if he just gave him a few pointers. Wang Daoyuan said, "The crafting inheritance I snatched from the crafting room is not complete. If I were to craft a magic tool according to what was recorded in the inheritance, it would be somewhat lacking. My crafting and formation skills have both reached the mid-grade of the 5th level. I want to craft a mid-grade of the 5th level sword puppet. You've seen the Xianxian Divine Venerable's crafting, so you should know how to do it, right?" The weapon spirit looked proud. "These are all trivial matters. I've accompanied the old master for more than 10,000 years. The old master used the Xianxian cauldron to craft at least 10,000 magic tools. He crafted at least a few hundred puppets. I know all of his refining techniques very well." Since he boasted, Wang Daoyuan naturally couldn't refuse him. He took out the Xianxian cauldron from the space in the spiritual pearl and began crafting the puppet. Wang Daoyuan didn't get much guidance on the 4 paths of alchemy, crafting, and talisman formation. Most of the time, he still had to fumble around on his own. There were still many mistakes. Now, with the guidance of the Xianxian cauldron, he made up for many of his shortcomings. He also put a lot of effort into crafting this sword cultivator puppet. It took him a whole month to finish crafting all the parts. Not only was this puppet's grade higher than Xianbing and Xianding, but it was also improved from inside out. In order to increase the puppet's ability to compete with energy, Wang Daoyuan left 6 places for it to store spirit-gathering pearls. When the time came, it would be able to hold on for 2 to 4 hours if it was equipped with all 6 5th-grade spirit-gathering pearls. If it really went all out, an ordinary mid-grade Yuanine cultivator could only hold on for about 2 hours. In order to make more space for the spirit-gathering pearls, the size of the puppet had to be bigger. This puppet was more than 10 feet tall, and it was a size larger than the previous puppet. After that, it was time to cultivate the soul of the puppet. This had nothing to do with refining weapons, and the Xianxian cauldron had never participated in this, so naturally, it could not intervene. With the help of the spiritual orb, it took the puppet's soul half a year to comprehend the sword essence of Beiyuan. Wang Daoyuan carved the words Xianwu on the sword puppet, then took out the soul fragment from Cui Ming's body and injected it into Xianwu's puppet soul. He controlled Xianwu to the vicinity of Mount Serene and fought with the Grey Rock clone for more than a month. His combat level had also been trained. The puppet technique of the Xunlian school, the guidance of the Xianxian cauldron, and the Beiyuan sword essence. Xianwu's strength had already surpassed Xianjia's. After all, Xianjia was only refined by the cultivators of the Zhenhai sect, a branch of the Imperial Regency. The Imperial Regency was a force whose strongest cultivator was only at the peak of the soul formation stage. Naturally, Its inheritance could not be compared to that of the Shenlian school. After leaving Xianwu at Yuchuan Peak, Wang Daoist left Yuchuan Peak and came to Qingli City. At this time, Wang Mingchen was cultivating under the guidance of ancestor myriad spirits. Seeing him come, Wang Mingchen also stopped and bowed. "Greetings, father." Wang Daoist took out Xianwu from the spiritual orb. "No need to be so polite. I'm going to the headquarters of the Blood Shadow in the southern wilderness. You and Dao Jian pick some talented disciples from the family to follow me to the headquarters of the Blood Shadow. Your mother has become the Shadow Master of the Blood Shadow. This position can't always be a decoration. We have to arrange some people there. In the future, the family will support them to form their gold cores and enter the upper echelons of the Blood Shadow. Our Wang family also has to have a say in the Blood Shadow. We can't always rely on the Su family and the middle and lower class." Wang Mingchen nodded. "Yes, father. I'll let 3rd uncle and 27th uncle do this." Then, he took out a jade talisman to send a message. Hearing this, ancestor myriad spirits asked, "Blood Shadow? The force established by the 2 disciples of the Blood Shadow Patriarch? 50,000 years ago, the Blood Shadow was the strongest underground force in Beiyuan. These people like to be cowards and don't dare to provoke the big forces. After so many years, they shouldn't be weak. How did you manage to make Ming Chen's mother a shadow master with such little resources in the Yan Kingdom?" Wang Daoist briefly explained the process of trapping the Blood Shadow. Ancestor myriad spirits said with a smile, "It seems that you were prepared. Although the inheritance of the Blood Shadow is not very good, its intelligence is still very good. If you participate in the War of Providence in the future, it will be very beneficial to subdue the Blood Shadow. I previously refined a mid-grade Tier 5 sword puppet, Xianwu. Its strength is stronger than the Xianjia guarding Wanchuan market. With Xianwu guarding Yuchuan Peak, even if the demon beasts do something, it's not a big deal." Ancestor myriad spirits asked again, "A mid-grade Tier 5 sword puppet? Beiyuan lacks soul crystal veins, and there are not many suitable environments for the growth of the yellow spring willow. Therefore, puppetry has always been mediocre. Where did you get the Tier 5 puppetry inheritance?" Wang Daoist asked, "Have you heard of the Qixing Si Xiuxin community?" "That makes sense. The Shenlian school there is good at puppetry. Back then, the Valley of Beasts Divine Green would had some friendship with the Shenlian school's Divine Xianxian. He even took me to the Qixing Si Xiuxin community. The Sea of 7 Stars and Beiyuan are separated by a vast ocean. It's impossible to cross it without reaching the Mahayana realm. How did you get there?" "You're asking too much." Hearing Wang Daoyuan's unfriendly tone, ancestor myriad spirits did not dare to ask again. Wang Daoyuan found a place to stay in the palace. 3 days later, Wang Daochang and Wang Daojian brought 10 young family disciples to the palace in Qingli City. Of the 10 family disciples, 9 were at the late-stage foundation establishment realm, and only 1 was at the early-stage Zifu realm. This person was Wang Digong, the grandson of Wang Daoxing. He had been cultivating with Wang Daoyuan before. Later, Wang Daoyuan gave him the shadow sword art. At that time, he was at the peak of the foundation establishment realm. Now that he was at the early stage Zifu realm, it was reasonable. Wang Daojian cupped his hands and said, "Seventh brother, these 10 family disciples are quite talented. 9 of them are cultivators with 3 spiritual roots, and their main spiritual roots are more than 7 inches. Wang Digong is a 2 spiritual root cultivator with a main spiritual root that is more than 8 inches. He has the potential to form his core. Now, they are all stewards of the Shanbei branch. Each of them has 800,000 contribution points. Letting them enter the Blood Shadow headquarters in the name of sending talents to the branch was also to save some face for the Blood Shadow. If they directly joined as Wang family disciples, it would be a slap to the Blood Shadow's face." After learning about the War of Providence, Wang Daoyuan also felt a sense of urgency. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible to avoid internal friction. The Blood Shadow was his strongest force, and he had to make the Blood Shadow sincerely submit. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Not bad. I'll bring you to the Blood Shadow headquarters this time. In the future, you will receive better grooming there. What you have to do is to learn the Blood Shadow's teaching system and nurture more talents for the family. At the same time, you have to do your best to increase your cultivation and become an elder of the Blood Shadow. As long as you cultivate well, I guarantee that you will all be able to form your core. If there's anything else you need to deal with, do it as soon as possible. I'll give you time. In the future, you won't be able to come back easily after you go to the Blood Shadow headquarters. The 10 of them had no problems. Wang Daoyuan took out a high-grade Grade 5 flying boat and carried the 10 juniors to the south. On the flying boat, Wang Daoyuan asked Wang Digong, "What's your purple mansion anomaly?" Although Wang Digong put on a humble appearance, his face still revealed a proud expression. "Seventh uncle, my purple mansion anomaly is a sword. However, this sword is a little strange, so I named it the Shadow Sword." After saying that, a purple light flickered between his eyebrows. Then, a small black sword that was less than 3 inches long appeared. This sword seemed to be there and then not. One moment, it was solid, and the next moment, it was illusory. He probed with his divine perception, but he couldn't lock onto it. If a late-stage Yuanian cultivator's divine perception couldn't see it clearly, others might not even be able to detect it with their divine perception. Chapter 887. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This phenomenon isn't bad, and it's very compatible with the Shadow Sword art. The sword's potential isn't small, and it's very suitable for assassination. Oh right, do you have a natal magic artifact? Wang Digong replied, "I already have one. Grandpa 8th Aunt used the Lunar Shadow Crystal to forge it for me." The Lunar Shadow Crystal also had a concealment characteristic, and it was very compatible with his phenomenon. His 8th Aunt's grandfather was Zhao Liang, and he was now a mid-grade Tier 4 weapon forger. Forging a natal magic artifact for an early-stage Violet Palace realm cultivator was a piece of cake. How's your understanding of the sword intent? It's all thanks to the sword diagram you left in the Clear Glass City's Imperial Palace. I've already grasped the basics of the Shadow Kill sword intent. The sword diagram in the Clear Glass City's Imperial Palace was the origin returning sword diagram obtained from the White Tiger Hall in the Valley of Beasts. The origin returning sword intent wasn't something that anyone could cultivate, but the origin returning sword Immortal's sword intent was all-encompassing. The origin returning sword intent was a relatively unorthodox sword intent, and the Shadow Kill sword intent was also present in the sword diagram. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Not bad. To be able to comprehend sword intent and have a suitable natal magic artifact, your strength can be considered relatively strong among early-stage Violet Palace realm cultivators. Furthermore, the Shadow Sword art is extraordinary. Even compared to the geniuses of the Blood Wolf clan, you can be ranked among the top. 3 days later, the flying boat arrived at the Blood Shadow headquarters. He had already sent a message to Zhou Luan through the Blood Shadow's intelligence channel. At this moment, the Blood Shadow's second elder, Zhang Yu, was already waiting in the small valley. When he saw Wang Daoyuan land on the ground, he walked up and cupped his hands. "Greetings, retired emperor. The Shadow Lord is waiting for you at the Blood Shadow City." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "No need for formalities. Let's go to the headquarters as soon as possible." Zhang Yu nodded and led the way. Soon, they arrived at the Blood Shadow City. Zhou Luan led Wang Daoyuan and the others to a rather luxurious courtyard. The plaque in front of the door had the words, "Wang Residence," written on it. This should be the residence that Zhou Luan prepared for the Wang family's descendants. The entire compound was divided into 3 sections, and the rooms were relatively spacious. It was not a problem for dozens of people to live in them. After entering the courtyard, there was an old servant inside. Zhou Luan smiled and said, "This courtyard is yours. You can live wherever you want. This is your butler. If there's anything, just leave it to him." After saying that, he walked out of the courtyard with Wang Daoyuan. These 10 juniors are quite talented, especially that Zifu disciple. He's only at the early stage of the Zifu realm, but there's already a faintly discernible sword intent on his body. His ability to conceal himself is extremely strong. When did our Wang clan produce such a talent? He's second brother's eldest grandson, Wang Digong. For a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, his main spiritual root was the 8-inch and 3-part gold spiritual root. His Zifu anomaly was a faintly discernible sword. His personality made him suitable to be an assassin. The others all have 3 spiritual roots, and their main spiritual roots are more than 7 inches. Zhou Luan nodded. In that case, these people can all try to enter the Bloodwolf clan. As for whether or not they can succeed, that will depend on their abilities. As for this Wang Digong, with his strength, it won't be difficult for him to enter the Bloodwolf clan. In addition, it won't be a problem for him to become a first-rate expert of the Bloodwolf clan. The 2 of them arrived at the assembly hall at the center of the city. Grand Elder Zhang Dingming, Second Elder Zhang Yu, and the Su clan's representative, Su Qinghe, were all present. The cultivators of the Blood Shadow clan were divided into 3 major factions: the Zhang clan, the Su clan, and the cultivators who were not direct descendants. The 3 of them represented all 3 major factions. Zhou Luan said, Daoist brought some stewards from the northern mountain branch. They are also members of the Wang clan. According to the rules of the Blood Shadow clan, each branch has the responsibility of recommending talents to the headquarters. Of these 10 people, 9 of them are cultivators with 3 spiritual roots, and 1 of them is a cultivator with 2 spiritual roots, a Zifu disciple whose main spiritual root is more than 8 inches. With such talent, it shouldn't be a problem for them to enter the Blood Shadow clan, right? As for the elders of the Zhang and Su clans, most of them are the descendants of those people who were recommended by their respective branches. In addition, Second Elder Zhang Yu has always been on Zhou Luan's side, so he naturally has no problems. The Su clan was still very obedient, and Su Qinghe also had no objections. If there was one person who disliked Zhou Luan the most, it would be Zhang Dingming. The Zhang clan has always been slightly stronger than the Su clan, so Zhang Dingming forming his nascent soul wasn't a big problem. Su Boyu was old and weak, so the success rate of him forming his nascent soul wasn't high. The position of Shadow Lord would definitely be Zhang Dingming. Now, Zhou Luan suddenly appeared out of nowhere and became the Shadow Lord. The Su clan and a group of non-direct descendants all supported her, and the Zhang clan became the weaker party. How could he be happy about this? Zhang Dingming said, cultivators with 2 spiritual roots whose main spiritual roots are more than 8 inches don't need to be tested and can directly join the Bloodwolf clan. However, Zifu disciples are a bit troublesome. The members of the Bloodwolf clan are all at the foundation establishment stage or even earlier. After many years of nurturing, they have broken through to the Zifu realm. After opening the Zifu realm, they are candidates for the position of Blood Shadow Elder. If this Wang clan disciple directly becomes an elder candidate, I'm afraid it will be difficult to convince the others. In my opinion, let him compete with the other members of the Bloodwolf clan. If he can win, give him the position of an elder candidate. However, he first has to cultivate in the Bloodwolf clan for a few years to learn the various inheritances of the Bloodwolf clan. As for the other 9 people, they have to pass the test first to obtain the qualification to enter the Bloodwolf clan. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan didn't have any objections. They were quite confident in Wang Digong's ability. Under their eyes, Zhang Dingming also didn't dare to play dirty. If that was the case, it would give Zhou Luan a chance to mess with the Su clan. As for the other 9 people, they didn't have to enter the Bloodwolf clan. Generally, cultivators who couldn't enter the Bloodwolf clan could still become the disciples of the elders. With Zhou Luan's status and the Wang clan strength, there were many elders who were willing to accept these Wang clan disciples as disciples. Becoming an elder's disciple could also be trained well. Zhou Luan replied, "Do as the great elder said. Second elder, you arrange these things." Zhang Yu cupped his hands and said, "Yes." Then, he left the meeting hall and went to arrange the competition and test. This matter was naturally not a big problem for Zhang Yu to handle. Soon, Zhang Yu returned to the hall. "Shadow Master, I have arranged it. The location is set at the Bloodwolf camp, and there are also 5 Bloodwolf cultivators who will participate in the competition." Zhou Luan nodded. In that case, let's go and have a look together. Picking up the 10 Wang clan disciples, they went to the Blood Wolf camp west of the Blood Shadow City. There was a valley in the middle of a small mountain, and there were already 10 people waiting here. A late-stage golden core cultivator came out and greeted everyone. Blood Wolf Supervisor Wu Xiang greets the Shadow Master. The Blood Wolf Supervisor's status was extremely high, second only to the Shadow Master and the Great Elder. Zhou Luan said, "No need to be so polite, Supervisor Wu. Let's start the competition now." Elder Wu said to the 5 early-stage Zifu disciples behind him, "Wang Digong of the Northern Mountain Branch has joined the Blood Shadow City. You will test his strength. You are not allowed to injure others during the competition. Su Iza, you go first." Wang Digong took out a grayish-black long sword and walked forward. After greeting Su Iza, they began to fight. Su Iza instantly disappeared, and a moment later, a pitch-black long sword appeared behind Wang Digong and was placed against his neck. Zhang Dingming's face was filled with joy, but in the next moment, he was stunned. Wang Digong's figure suddenly scattered, transforming into countless rays of sword energy. Su Iza hurriedly shouted, "I admit defeat." The sword energy disappeared, and Wang Digong's figure appeared. Zhang Dingming sucked in a breath of cold air. It's hard to tell if the sword energy is real or fake. Even a nascent soul cultivator like me would have to carefully examine him before discovering his concealment technique. This is the shadow sword art of the Valley of Beasts. The Wang clan has such a powerful inheritance? Even a mid-stage Zifu disciple of the Blood Shadow City would find it difficult to defeat him. There's no need to compete with the remaining 4. Wang Digong is already a candidate elder. Although the blood-robed divine sovereign was also a powerful cultivator, he was a rogue cultivator. Not long after becoming a powerful cultivator, he died in battle. His inheritance was similar to that of a Mahayana cultivator, and it had not been perfected. After that, the Blood Shadow City did not have any more Mahayana cultivators. They really could not come up with an inheritance that could surpass the shadow sword art. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.